Buzz Pucks. In the middle of the rink, Buzz Pucks.
Oh, man.
We talk about hockey games
And
each week.
things.
Buzz Pucks. This week we have a couple trades. Buzz Pucks. That's it.
All right, cool.
Welcome to Buzz Pucks. I'm Bert.
I'm Clay,
I thought of that while I was driving home.
and I'm always unhappy.
Oh, shut up.
With your stuff, yeah. With your songs, yes.
My songs are beautiful. We're here for week 19 of the NHL season.
That is February 13th through the 19th.
Yes, it is. And we're about, what did Cap Friendly say, 10 and change days away from the trade deadline? We'll call it 11. 11 days from the trade deadline, so...
Which is March 3rd.
Yes, it is. So a couple of trades happened this week, which we will start off with, like we did last week.
Yeah,
right?
that's how we did it last
But
week.
before any of that, what are we drinking, Clay?
Hi, neighbor. We're drinking Narragansett.
Does it say hi, neighbor on it?
Turn the thing around.
Oh.
Look at that. Yeah, I was craving a crap beer. And that's no shade on crap beers.
I like cheap beer.
They need
Yeah.
like everyone has their favorite cheap crap beer.
Yeah. They all taste the same for the most part.
They all taste the same, but just a little
A
different.
little different, yeah.
And this
like
is
this and PBR tastes so close to
But-
being the same,
but
but,
not,
a little
but
different.
not.
A little different.
So like Narragansett's the New England's.
yeah. So PBR is like a national one. What's yours? Natty Bo?
Yeah,
right? Natty
National
Bo.
Bohemian.
In Pennsylvania, it's Yingling. Although I can't stomach Yingling anymore. The last time I had it, I was like, oh,
Yingling, like the original Yingling,
I don't know if they changed it or
No.
something.
always gives me a hangover now.
Oh, really?
Like one will
It's
give
just
me
a
a
lot of
hangover.
sugar in it or something. I don't know. I know in the.
Their black and tan or whatever is very good.
I haven't
Though.
had Yingling in a long
That's
time.
a
I
good
should
one.
get some next time I see it. I know up in Seattle it's Rainier.
Mm-hmm.
Bud Light, Coors Light, if you really want trash beer.
But like those at a certain spot, those are regionals or like
Yeah, I guess,
historical
yeah.
regionals.
Yeah, like Coors in Colorado and
Yeah.
stuff. Yeah, but yeah. So Narragansett, it's good. It's good enough.
Mm-hmm.
This is one of those beers that like you're going to a party, and you can get two 6-packs of Tall Boys for like $14.
Yeah.
So.
Exactly.
So you just do it. It's just like PBR.
It's lovely.
All right, let's kick things off with a couple of trades that happened. Clay,
All right.
you do the honors.
Because Toronto was the big recipient,
Yes, they were.
I'll say this: they received Ryan O'Reilly
Yes, they did.
from the Minnesota Wild.
Technically, yes, from the Minnesota.
And
Wild.
Minnesota Wild got them from the St. Louis Blues. Toronto got Ryan O'Reilly and Noel Achari
and Josh Pillar,
and Josh Pilar.
who's a prospect, but
Hey,
he's part of the trade.
they forgot to mention him the first time too.
That's funny.
So, and they did it.
Not yet.
They did it for a first, third, and second. The first and third are for next year, and the second is from 2 years out. And Minnesota got a fourth.
Mm-hmm. Well, St. Louis also got Adam Gaudette and Mikhail Abramov.
Yeah, but those are AHL guys.
I know, but they're still in
Yes.
the trade. You might
Yeah.
as well name everybody.
Um,
Real weird that Minnesota decided to be in on this, but I guess they're like, whatever.
well, they got a fourth. Basically, they paid $74,000 for a fourth.
$74,000? What do you mean?
Like, with the money that moved around.
Oh, okay. I got you.
Yeah, with the money they moved around, that's...
Important to note, O'Reilly's contract is pretty much 75% retained.
Yes.
50% by St. Louis, and then
25%,
another 25% by Minnesota. So that's why Minnesota was involved in the deal. I just think it's funny because they don't have any cap space.
Right.
And they're like, yeah, we'll do it.
But the way it ends up looking out, which is funny, it looks like they paid a first, a third, and a second for just Noel Achari.
Yeah. Right, yeah. Because the way that the trade went was St. Louis sent O'Reilly and Pilar to Minnesota, who then sent them to Toronto.
No, Pilar was on Minnesota.
Oh, was he?
Yeah, Pilar's
okay,
a Minnesota
whatever.
prospect.
Yeah. So I'll be totally honest. I know he's a rental, but kind of underwhelming O'Reilly. return. I guess he's having a pretty bad year offensively.
like,
anyway,
you get you get a first and a third in
yeah,
a
yeah,
very
I
deep,
know.
in
Yeah,
a very
yeah,
deep draft.
I know.
And the second,
It's
2
not
years from now.
terrible, but like
think it's a good
at the
trade.
beginning of the year when somebody was like, "Oh, they might trade O'Reilly," people were probably thinking, "Oh, like
Couple
first plus like an A plus prospect or whatever, yada yada." But I get it's not that bad. The Gaudette and Abramov are just like, "Oh, those guys aren't that good."
Well, that's how.
My dog making noise. Was that her?
Yeah, that was her.
What a baby.
Oh, I mean that Gaudette was not qualified by
I think
the
Chicago.
Senators.
Oh, okay, the Senators. Wasn't he on Chicago too?
Maybe
was that
for a
last
little
year,
bit.
maybe the year before, whatever. Doesn't
So
matter.
like Gaudette's moving around, and from what I remember about him, he's got all the tools but the brain.
Yeah, just the sense
Yeah, the hockey
isn't
IQ.
there. Yeah, you hear like what's it called, talking heads
Yeah,
be like, oh, this guy's got great. Like they'll talk about Crosby, be like, oh, he has great hockey sense. He has like kind of a
Yeah.
sixth sense, and it's like, what do they mean by that? It's the stuff like Crosby like bats shit out of the air and like just doesn't even look and find somebody behind him.
Well, yeah,
that kind of stuff.
it's-
but that's like high level hockey IQ.
or like just making passes.
Yeah.
That someone
middle of the ground is where most players are, where
Yeah.
they're like, oh, okay, I know the plays. You know? Yeah.
driving to the net.
Yeah.
Instead of making it
Or they
easy
know what
pass.
the setup
Yeah.
plays are for their team, and Gaudette just doesn't.
Yeah.
Because in case you guys didn't realize, hockey teams do have plays. It's not just a bunch of random passing the puck around.
Right.
Which, if you watch a bad team, that is what it looks like. But if you watch like Boston or somebody like that, you're like, oh, clearly they know what they're doing.
Right. That's the first trade.
And that was the first trade. The second trade,
That was the big trade.
yeah, the second trade is more minor. It's more of a depth trade. But the New York Rangers got Tyler Mott from the Ottawa Senators for Julien Gauthier and a 2023 seventh round pick. And that seventh round pick upgrades to a sixth if they make the second round of the playoffs.
Ooh.
So,
I mean, they like the Rangers like Mott.
wasn't he on them
Last
their
year.
team last year? So
Yes.
yeah, they just got their old friend back.
They know he can play well in the playoffs on their lower lines. So
So yeah, I mean they already know him, so
Yep.
why not? Makes sense, I suppose. No, and they didn't really give up too much for him. Gauthier is like a younger bottom six player, so
Right.
Yeah. All right. Well, you're up first.
all right, sounds
You
good.
tell me about them games.
I'm telling you about the Atlantic.
All right.
Boston
Boston.
3-0. They're back.
Yeah, of course.
One bad week. Back to 3-0.
They don't even have 10 regulation losses yet.
No, they don't,
God.
because they're 42-8-5.
Oh, it'll be so sweet to watch them lose in the first round to the Buffalo Sabres.
Oh my God, that'd be amazing. 89 points. That is good for first in the league.
Shut up, Boston. We get it.
They beat Dallas in overtime to start the week. Linus Ullmark was their top player in that game. Then they shut out Nashville.
Yeah.
5-0.
Yee.
Swayman 28 for 28. Bergeron had a goal and an assist. Then they kept stomping on the Islanders. 6-2 win there.
Yep.
Trent Frederick had 2 goals in that game.
Oh, that has to hurt. That
Yep.
Trent Frederick, of all people, was the one that scored 2 goals on.
Yep. They were perfect on the penalty kill over the week, and Nick Foligno was their top player,
Hey, look at
and a
him.
goal and 3 assists.
All right.
Next up is Montreal, because y'all chuckleheads kept making jokes. So now we're doing East to West.
Y'all chuckleheads, 2.
Yes.
2 people.
So now we're doing East to West.
Boston's the small. Oh, yeah, I guess it is, yeah.
Yeah. You might be surprised by some of these.
I don't know why I thought that. Well, the furthest west has got to be Detroit.
Yes, but by not as much as you would think.
Oh, interesting.
Like 1 point on the latitude.
Oh, interesting. Continue.
Longitude. Yes, it's longitude.
Yeah, yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. We
Yeah.
know. We know.
We know. We
We're-
messed it up last time, but
we
whatever.
know. We know charts.
Montreal 1-2 on the week.
Sounds about right. Can't believe they haven't sold off most of their veteran players yet, honestly.
Well, think of the veteran players that they have.
Would
Would you want them?
They could probably get something for Mike Matheson, but he has term on his contract still.
Yeah, I mean, Matheson's the one that they want to keep just because of like some veteran like guidance.
Right, yeah.
Like Joel Edmondson's like they want to get rid of, but
They're waiting for somebody to give them a first-round pick like somebody gave them for
For
Ben
sure.
Sherratt last year.
Montreal is 23, 29, and 4.
Please don't let it be the Penguins. God save me. I'll be so angry.
Good for 50 points.
Uh,
8th
nice.
in the division, so they're in last. They started the week by beating Chicago 4-0. Shut them out. Allen was 22 for 22. Drouin had 3 assists in that game. Then they lost to Carolina, which you'd kind of expect. 2-6. They gave up a shorthanded goal. They don't have a top player for that. And then they got stomped again by Toronto. So that's a 1-5 loss there.
Makes sense.
Yeah. They
makes
do
sense.
have a top player because I don't know why. Joel Armia had 3 points, 1 goal, 2 assists.
Yeah, hey, it's okay.
Yeah. I think I was surprised.
They
just-
won one game. They
Yeah.
get a top player.
Yeah, no, I shouldn't. But whatever. He's a guy who did struggle earlier in the year,
Yeah.
and he did get called out by the coach. So it's good to see him like
He's somebody
respond.
that could trade for something.
Yeah. All right, moving on. to
Moving on.
Ottawa.
Ottawa.
3-0-1 on the
Oh,
week.
look at
they
them.
made some moves. Not up the standings.
Not up the standings.
They have 58 points. They're in 7th, but 5th place. Nope. 4th place only has 62 points, so that's not a huge gap.
Oh, interesting.
27, 24, and 4 on
They're
the
catching
season.
up.
They're catching
The
up.
Senators are catching up. Ryan Reynolds is going to buy them, and they're going to be
Ryan Reynolds has
champions.
officially tied himself to one of the ownership groups making a
That's
bid.
the one that they're going to pick then, because for some reason the
Yeah.
NHL really wants Ryan Reynolds to own the Senators, or at least be partial owner. I guess it's like
'cause
name
everything-
recognition. And
Everything
stuff.
he
Yeah.
touches turns to gold.
Everything.
X-Men Evolutions.
It was Origins Wolverine.
Wolverine, yeah.
That was the one that was a stink pile.
Yeah, well, he brought Deadpool back and made him better.
That's true. I mean, he is a good Deadpool. Don't get me
Yeah.
wrong. But
Especially in X-Men Origins Wolverine.
now, I have to assume Deadpool is going to show up in the MCU at some point. But
So yeah, that works.
those like 5 years where those two movies came out, boy, I was over Deadpool because it just was like every asshole that you would see online at like a con or something.
Yep.
Not that I go to cons, but like would be dressed as Deadpool, and because you can't see their face, they would just be like dicks, and they would just like mess with people.
Yeah. I mean,
And like
they,
sometimes it's funny, but
they did
sometimes
that-
it's like the person was like, get away from me.
they
you
did
know?
that before Ryan Reynolds was Deadpool.
I guess that's true, but it
they
just
did that before
emboldened
the
them
first
more.
Deadpool
Anyway,
movie.
we're talking about the Ottawa Senators.
We are, and so they started out beating Calgary in a pretty embarrassing loss for Calgary. Yeah. That was a 4-3 overtime win for them. We talked about this game because they just didn't. Nope, I'm thinking of a different time where Calgary's defense left Markstrom to dry. This one was kind of on Markstrom. Either way, Sogard was in net. Tim Stützle had 1 goal and 3 assists.
Is that guy's name Mads Sogard?
Yes, it is.
Sweet.
It's a dope name.
Yeah, it's a cool name.
Stützle had a 4.9, a goal and 3 assists, including the overtime game winner. Then they beat the Islanders in a shootout win. My pause was to read what I wrote for the goalie's name because I believe it's Mandolise.
Sure. Mandolin.
No, it's not mandolin. I
Like
know.
the- like
I know
the
that
instrument.
one. He was 46 for 48 in that game.
Wow.
Yes.
Who are these goalies? Well, I know who Mads Sogard is, but like,
This is a 4th string goalie.
who are their normal goalies?
Talbot and who just tore both of his MCLs. Forsberg.
Oh, I forgot about Forsberg.
Talbot and Forsberg.
I forgot about Forsberg, that poor bastard.
1 for 3 on that power play. Tim Stützle had a goal and an assist in that game.
Stützle.
It's a great name.
It is.
Then they lost to Chicago in overtime.
Yes, they did.
Mads was in net again. 0 for 3 on the power play, but adjusted, it was 0 for 4.
Sick.
You let it in a shorty. You don't get a top player there, and then they finished the week by absolutely killing St. Louis 7-2.
Oh, yeah. Well, St. Louis has officially given up on the season. So.
Yes, they have, but Ottawa made them pay for getting rid of O'Reilly.
Yeah.
You know?
You guys don't have O'Reilly and Tarasenko anymore, huh? Weird.
What's going to happen here? Stützle had 2 goals and an assist. There was a bunch of guys in that game with 3 points at least. Like,
I mean, with 7
Tkachuk,
goals.
Yeah. That entire line, Stützle, Tkachuk, and Batherson had a litany of points. And I just want to mention the penalty kill because they had to kill 19 penalties in 4 games.
That is a lot. That's a lot.
That's not what you want to do.
No.
They killed off 17.
Hey,
which is good.
That's good.
But
yeah.
19 penalties?
That's a lot. That's a lot of
Be
penalties.
better than that.
You gotta have a bit more discipline.
Yeah. If you couldn't tell by how many times I said his name, Tim Stützle is their top player.
That German boy.
In 4 games, he had 4 goals and 6 assists, including 2 game winners.
Hot damn, Timmy.
Tkachuk,
He was eating his bratwurst this week.
Brady did have like 7 or 8 points as well. So, like,
pretty good week for those guys.
Pretty good week for them.
Next up, that's what everybody thought the Senators were going to possibly be going into the year.
Right.
And then it was like, well, they still have Cam Talbot as their goalie.
Well, it's more the defense.
And now they have Mads Søgaard as their goalie.
It's more the defense in front of Cam Talbot.
Yeah.
Next up is Buffalo.
If there's a pause in discussion, it's because both of us take a drink at the same time, like we just did.
It's yummy.
I mean, it's easy to drink, too.
Buffalo. Was that 5? Buffalo?
Buffalo. There you go.
Yeah, there's a full sentence right there.
I still don't really understand that. And you do not need to explain it to me right now.
Dance, place, animal, and I don't know the other 2. Yeah, there we are. All right, either way. They are 28, 24, and 4 on the season. They went 2-1 this week, 60 points in 5th. So real close.
Close to the wild card spot.
Fighting for that wild
3 points back.
Yeah. They started the week by losing to the Kings because they went on a California road trip this week. So they lost to the Kings to start the week. Victor Olofsson did have 2 assists in that game. 1 for 3 on the penalty kill.
Nice.
Yeah.
Hell yeah.
And gave up a shorthanded goal as
well. Hell yeah.
Bad time.
Hell yeah, Batman.
Craig Anderson was in net for that loss.
I do wonder if maybe Buffalo might swing a trade for a goalie. Because God love Craig Anderson.
No, if anything, they're getting rid of a goalie.
Well, they have Anderson, Pekka Luukkonen, and...
Up next is Anaheim.
Okay.
In the week where they beat 7-3. Eric Comrie was in net in that one.
Eric Comrie, that's the third one, yeah.
For that win, Dahlin had 2 assists in that game, and they also outshot the Ducks 44-22.
Seems like an interesting thread for Anaheim this year. Is how many times they've been outshot by a very large margin.
I mean, I showed you the WAR, wins above replacement, defensively.
Yeah, you did.
For the Ducks.
Oh, Klingberg.
Klingberg was down there with a -5.
Bad. Klingberg's so bad this year. Well, he's not on a good team, which does not help, but like it really highlights how bad at defense he is.
Yes, it does. So yeah, Comrie was in net, and then they finished up the week by beating San Jose 4-2, where Luukkonen was in net. So they played all 3 goalies this week.
So they're rolling with 3 goalies right now?
They've been rolling with 3 goalies ever since Anderson and Comrie came back.
They're rolling with 3 goalies, none of which strike fear into the opposition. Craig Anderson is, 45 or something?
At least 42.
So, like,
Yeah,
he's playing fine.
This
Like, I'm
is
not
his
trying
last-
to shit on
this
him,
is
but
his
I'm
last
just
year,
like, he's
'cause he's a
42.
UFA.
Yeah. Ukko-Pekka Luukkonen, I believe, is a rookie, or he's very
No,
young either way.
He's not technically a rookie because he was in net last year when they rolled with 7 goalies.
Well, it depends on how many games he played last
Fair.
year. But he's young.
He's their
either
goalie
way.
of the future. He is their future.
Right, no, I know. But, like, and then Eric Comrie is
The backup.
kind of a journeyman
Yeah.
goaltender.
When Anderson and Comrie got hurt, Luukkonen did basically take the job.
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, if Luukkonen's playing fine, then maybe they just roll with what they got. But
Their biggest
if
problem.
they're close to the playoffs, if the trade deadline comes up in 11 days and they're like there, tied or a point behind, I don't know. I might try to swing some sort of trade for a goalie.
I wouldn't go for a goalie. I think they need more, better defensemen.
Beef their defense up. Yeah.
Defensive defensemen, because they got guys who can score. Because with
Right,
Dahlin
yeah.
and Power and
a veteran defenseman
yeah.
would probably be helpful.
very
Like a solid veteran defenseman,
Yes.
not just like
not Eric Carlson.
we got Tyler Myers back, you
Yeah.
know, like not Eric Carlson. Watch them get Eric Carlson.
Oh man. Defense questionable.
Optional.
Yes,
Yeah. That's what Edmonton's trying to do.
that's what they're trying to do.
That's what Edmonton's trying
Skinner had a goal and an assist in that game, so penalty kill wasn't as bad as it could have been with that first game because those were the only 2 penalty kills they
to do. 2 power play goals.
against.
Okay. That's
Dylan Cousins is their top player with 3 goals and an assist.
all right.
Yeah.
My man just got locked up long term and he had 3 goals this week.
It's such a good deal. It's such a good deal.
Yeah, between him and Tage Thompson, those are
14 million
good,
between them for the
good
next
deals, yeah.
7 years.
And depending on what happens with Bally Sports, but the cap should jump pretty significantly.
Yep.
Not next year, but like the years following that. So
Yeah,
depending on what happens with Bally Sports.
they've already filed for bankruptcy.
Yeah, it's not. Let's just talk about it really quick. Bally Sports, which is the broadcasting partner of 12 teams. I don't know them all off the top of my head, but a lot of the ones in the South.
A lot of the ones in the Central as well.
Yeah. So, they're going under. They didn't pay $140 million of interest or something that they were
fun.
supposed to pay on Wednesday. If they have not filed for bankruptcy yet, I think they're about to.
Mm-hmm.
That really, that sucks for the NHL. But the thing is that the NHL does have a contract with ESPN for a very long time, and a ton of games are already streaming on ESPN Plus.
Right.
So what I imagine is probably going to happen is that they'll just remove the blackouts for those areas on ESPN and just be like, it's on ESPN.
Well, and they're talking about that with the MLB too, because Bally's also with a lot of MLB.
I was like, there's another
teams.
sport that's being affected by that. For some reason, I thought it was the NBA, but it's the MLB.
It's baseball. All right.
Oh yeah, because a bunch of hockey teams and baseball teams are
Yeah.
Pittsburgh is on the same network,
Right.
so that makes sense. Yeah, why they would.
Up next is Toronto.
Mm-hmm.
Not far away from Buffalo at all.
No, just like right across the falls. Right?
You can see it.
Yeah.
It's like an hour and a half drive.
Yeah. Stupid border.
Stupid border.
Let's just make one big ass country. Mexico can join too.
Yeah, let's do it.
Bring that cartel money.
They're in our avocados already.
Avocados in Mexico.
Yeah, cartel.
Avocados from the Oaxaca family.
Ooh, good job.
That's a city, not a family. I
I
don't think.
know.
But I don't know any cartel names off the top of my head. Go ahead.
2-1 this week.
All right.
2-1. 34, 15, and 8. 76 points. That's good for second. They started the week by beating Chicago
Yep.
5-2.
As they should.
Samsonov was a net there. Nylander had a goal and 2 assists. Apparently, his dad played for Chicago for a long time.
Oh. Yeah, I forget what their dad's name is. Michael Nylander?
Something like that.
Yeah, I think their dad's Michael Nylander.
They kept mentioning him during the second Chicago
Of
game
course they
this
did.
week, which Toronto lost.
Shameful.
Kind of.
Kind of shameful?
Yes, kind of shameful.
Chicago's not good.
No, I watched this game.
Uh-huh.
I watched most of this game. But, yeah, it wasn't good sometimes. Then we talked about after the first Chicago game, they beat Montreal, which we already talked about. Jacob Wohl was in net there, backing up Samsonov because Murray got moved to the LTIR.
Yeah, I think that was to facilitate the O'Reilly trade. Well, he's also hurt.
Yeah,
so.
he is hurt. Bunting had 2 goals in that game, and then what I was alluding to, Toronto lost to Chicago 5-7.
What?
I have a 5-7 loss.
To Chicago?
Yes.
It was 5-3.
I wrote that 3 poorly.
The score was 5-3.
All right, there's going to be a 5-3 loss somewhere.
Let's just double check that really quick.
No,
just in case I'm wrong.
5-3. The Max Domi empty net was that 5th goal.
I think it would have stuck in my head if it was 7-5 for Chicago. Your handwriting is terrible.
Yeah, but that's still a 7. There's going to be a 5. There's going to be.
You wrote some other score wrong.
Yeah, I wrote another score wrong
got
somewhere.
All dyslexic somewhere in there.
We'll figure that out.
Hey, look, the Sharks are winning.
Good. Yeah. Bad.
I keep forgetting today's Happy President's Day, I guess.
Yeah.
Today is a holiday, so there's hockey games going on like this afternoon.
Oh, there were some matinee games that I missed.
No, it
was 5-3. There it is.
There it is. Yeah, 5-3.
Interesting.
I just did this earlier. I was I think that was 7-5.
Noah Kari had his first goal for the
Achari.
I don't care. I said his name wrong when he was on Florida, and I'll do it when he's on Toronto.
I'll do it again.
Had his first goal in the Toronto black, because they were wearing their black jerseys. It was weird.
That is strange. Oh, those their reverse retros?
No.
Why do they have black? That's just their
I don't know.
Third jersey? That's
yeah.
strange. I don't like
Chicago was wearing their whites at home.
I guess
I don't know.
Well, sometimes teams are like, hey, we wanted to wear this jersey, and they're like, the other team's like, all right, whatever.
Right, but it was still, like, very confusing for me.
That is odd. Well, I saw, was it this year or last year? I remember there was a Penguins game where the Penguins wore their home jerseys away, like, so their black and golds away, because the other team wanted to wear their, I think it might have been their reverse retros, but their retros were white.
Right.
And so they were like, we're going to wear our reverse retros. Can you guys wear your like home jerseys?
That's definitely
and the Penguins are like, yeah, whatever.
That's definitely happening with the reverse retros this year.
Yeah, and then I remember watching the game and I'm being super confused because I was like, are they at home? No, they're not.
I was really struggling with it for most of the game that I watched this because just like I know they're in Chicago. They're wearing their whites.
Yeah.
And
well, what's really strange is it used to be the reverse in hockey.
Yes, it used to
be.
They
used to wear the whites at home and then the colored jerseys away, which I think having the colors at home makes much more sense.
Yes, it makes more sense.
Because you're representing the team more.
Also, you think about baseball, you wear your whites at home and your grays away.
Right, yeah.
Maybe
they were just taking that off of baseball.
Kind of. And then the whites / any colored jerseys that you have are your home and grays are away.
Yeah. I remember watching hockey as a kid and being like, why are they white at home? That's weird. Anyway, what are we talking about?
Samsonov was in net. He was, he wasn't the best, but also the defense in front of him wasn't the best. Like, it was a
Toronto's defense might be their biggest weakness.
I think
honestly
they know it is.
Because Samsonov has played fine, and Murray, when he was healthy, has also played fine. And Wall has played fine too, I think.
Yeah, he's only played 3 games.
He's their third string goalie, but
I'm surprised they didn't put Shalgren in. They sent Shalgren back.
Do they still have Shalgren?
He's back. They sent him back down to the minors.
Oh.
Yeah.
Oh, interesting.
I'm confused.
But like their goalies have been fine. They've been fine. Their defense is just their biggest weak. It's not their defense isn't terrible.
It's not bad,
but it's not like as good as like Boston's or
it's not Edmonton's or it's not.
It's not as bad as Edmonton.
It's not Edmonton's, but it's also not Carolina's.
Right, Carolina is the perfect example. Yeah.
Which,
but at this point, I don't think they can add anything further to their team. So not with the negative $45 that they have as cap space.
So
or
yeah,
whatever
it's we'll see what happens because when their offense gets shut down, they can't always rely on their defense to be shut down.
Smells like a first-round exit again.
Especially if they're playing Tampa, who really knows?
Tampa has a fairly good defense. So,
all right, moving up is Florida Panthers.
Florida.
Only just barely west of Toronto.
Really?
Barely.
Huh. I always get confused when teams are like wildly away from each other north to south.
Yeah.
I never think about it east to west.
Yeah.
Comparatively.
Again, only one latitude point.
Only
degree.
one longitude point.
Nope. Fuck, you are right. It is
I know
longitude.
I'm right.
Good job.
Because latitude is going as like a ladder.
Yeah.
Going
there
up
it is.
Going up the globe.
Why? I needed you like a month ago.
I was here. You didn't ask for help.
Always asking for help for this. 2-2 this week.
You never tell me what you're doing. You just like are like, I'm here north to south, baby.
Because I never have a plan.
Reverse order of their name of their mascot
I'm doing that
in
next week.
alphabetical order.
All right. 28, 25, and 6 on the year. 62 points in fourth place.
They're getting there. They're right there for the wild
They're
card.
fighting back.
Surprisingly.
They beat Minnesota in a shootout. Bobrovsky had a great game. In 27 for 28. He's their top player for that game.
Mm-hmm.
Then they lost to St. Louis, which is kind of shameful.
Yeah.
Especially
now.
Especially letting up 6 goals to St. Louis.
Yeah. Well, they might have still had Tarasenko O'Reilly during that game, but I don't remember.
I'm not sure.
I'm not sure. Definitely did not have Tarasenko.
They might. I think they had O'Reilly. Knight was in net. Not a good game. Just not a good game.
It's not a good game in general.
All of these games are away from Florida, by the way. Then they beat Washington 6-3. Bobrovsky was back, had a good game as well. Verhaeghe had 2 assists. They tried to blow this game. They tried really hard to blow this game. The 5 and 6 were both empty netters.
Yeah.
Then they lost to Nashville.
Mm-hmm. That's a little shameful.
Bobrovsky did not have a good game here. Going 1 for 3 on the penalty kill as well. Verhaeghe is their top player. He had a goal and 3 assists. Their penalty kill was 10 for 15.
That's bad.
Yeah, it is bad. Yeah.
It's really bad.
So if you want to make the playoffs, fix that.
Yeah. You might still make it and just get stomped by Boston.
If you want to do anything in the playoffs, fix that.
If you want to do something in the playoffs.
Yeah. Next up is Tampa Bay.
Tampa.
1-1-1 on the week. They are 35-17-3, 73 points in third.
Man, they really have
They've been killing it.
They have a very good record, and I have heard absolutely nothing outside of you talking about them.
Right.
I've heard absolutely nothing about Tampa Bay because everybody's just like, look at Boston. I'm like, yeah, but like they're going to have to play Tampa in the second round or Toronto.
Right.
I mean, they'll probably beat Toronto, but
Boston
still. Versus Tampa, that's going to be. I mean, maybe I'm wrong, but if just assuming those are the 2 teams that make it to the second round in that bracket, that'll be a bloodbath of a series. I feel like.
I feel like whoever plays Boston in the second round, again, assuming Boston doesn't choke in the first round, because we know President's trophies.
I smell a Pittsburgh Penguins upset over the Boston Bruins. I can feel it in my bones.
You can feel it in your bones. That's
Don't say it.
Black on gold crime right there.
Hell yeah, it is.
But they beat Colorado in a shootout.
Yes, they did.
Then they lost to Arizona in a shootout.
Yes, they did.
So, this shootout was a 0-1 shootout loss.
Yeah, it was.
That means both goalies
the vaunted double shutout.
Both goalies got credited with a shutout.
Yeah, and it's not even the goalies you would think.
It is Brian Elliott and Connor Ingram.
Yeah.
So both backups.
It's so funny it was to the two of them and not Vasilevsky and Fomelka.
No. In fact,
But it would have been so cool, two double Vs getting the shutouts, Fomelka versus Vasilevsky.
it would have been cool. But Connor Ingram has kept his shutout going.
Yeah, Connor Ingram kind of killed it this week, so.
He didn't let a goal in this week.
Yes, he did.
Did he play in the first game of the week?
I don't know off the top of my head, but I know that he has a .68 goals against average, so that means he let in at least one goal.
Interesting. I didn't know he played before this Tampa Bay game.
Playing 3. Go ahead.
They outshot Arizona 47-26.
Yeah, they did.
They dominated that game, but Connor Ingram stood on his head.
Dominated.
Then they lost to Vegas in regulation, but that was a 4-5 loss.
Regulation.
Nemestikov had a goal and assist in that game.
Good old Vladislav.
They don't actually get a top player this week. No one scored more than 3 points. You
that's
went
fair.
1-1-1.
That's fair.
You don't get a top player. Finally, Detroit is up 3-1 this week.
Whoa.
26, 21-8, 60 points, 6th. So it's not that far behind.
No, that's not.
They played
Doesn't matter.
in the Pacific this week.
Oh, they played all their games in the Pacific.
All their games in the Pacific, and they went 3-1.
Good for them.
They started the week by stomping Vancouver, which is
As they should.
as they should. Then they beat Edmonton in a shootout, 5-4. That Vancouver win was 6-1. Ville Husso was 29 for 30. Dylan Larkin had 2 goals. They were 1 for 1 on the power play. They had a good game.
Yeah.
Edmonton, they beat in the shootout 5-4. So Husso was in net Husso was in net again, 2 for 2 on the power play. Dylan Larkin had a goal and assist, but they were outshot 45-23.
Doesn't matter one.
Exactly.
Doesn't matter one. Yeah.
Then they beat Calgary in a game that wasn't super close, but it was 5-2. Magnus Hellberg was in net then. It's a great name.
There's a bunch of goalies that have really cool names. Magnus Hellberg. Come on. You got Ukko-Pekka Luukkonen. You got Magnus Hellberg and Mads Søgaard.
Tyler Bertuzzi had
Those are sick names.
a goal and 2 assists in that game, and then they finished off by losing to Seattle. So, no.
That's not really shameful. Seattle's been having a good year.
Seattle's been having a good year.
Yeah.
It's the very end of a long road trip.
Sure, they're zonked.
Yeah. 5 for 10 on the power play.
Damn.
Yes.
Damn, girl.
Yes. And then 10 for 11 on the penalty kill. So their special teams has been solid this week. Dylan Larkin is their top player with 4 goals and 4 assists.
Hell yeah.
He is working for that new contract.
With whoever that might be with.
With whoever that might be with.
It's interesting.
I have a gut feeling he is going to stay in Detroit.
Yeah, I was just going to say, it's interesting because they're not that far back from a playoff spot.
They are.
How many points do they have? Did you say 60?
60.
They're only 3 points back of a playoff spot.
Right.
And I keep seeing, maybe this is wishful thinking from talking heads, but I keep seeing them be like, oh, Dylan Larkin maybe getting traded to Carolina, getting traded to wherever.
Carolina's never going for him.
No?
No, because they get people who, they rob people.
That's
true.
That's
Carolina.
That's true. They're not going to rob Yzerman.
They're not robbing Yzerman.
Yeah, but being that close, I don't think I would trade Larkin. And plus, he's your captain, too. Unless something real bad happens in the next 2 weeks where they just go, oh, for whatever. But
from what I've seen...
Even then.
From what I've seen in reports of contract negotiations, they're arguing over $500,000.
Okay, they'll get there. So they're not going to trade. They're not going to trade him.
He's not going anywhere.
No.
They want to give him 8.5.
He wants 9.
He wants 9.
that might actually still be kind of cheap for him,
Yeah.
honestly, for 9. I mean, like, not superstar status Dylan Larkin, but like pretty good. You
Right.
know, like right below superstar. So yeah, it seems like they're gonna move Tyler Bertuzzi at the deadline.
Maybe.
But you never know.
I do also want to shout out Robbie Fabry. He came back
Hey.
from his injury. He put up 7 points. He had 3.
for him.
He had 3 goals and 4 assists,
Good for him.
including a game winner.
That poor man. He's been so injury riddled through his career so far.
He got the game winner against Calgary, I believe.
Nice.
Yeah.
for
So it's good to see him. You know, he's been snake bit with those
Yeah.
injuries for so long. So good to see him put up those
Have a
those
good week.
points.
Yeah.
For news,
News.
Boston and Buffalo don't have any new injuries or news.
Congratulations.
And Nosek got moved to the LTIR, but
not
he
big
broke a
news.
foot.
Yeah.
Like
Yeah.
it was minimum 4 weeks before he got evaluated.
Right. Yeah.
Jake DeBrusk is back. He's already put up 2 points.
Oh, God. Shut up, Boston.
He
Of course, he's back from a broken leg already.
he played in the 3rd game against San Jose and had a goal and assist.
It's been like a month and a half since he broke his leg.
Yeah.
And he's just like, I'm back.
I'm back and I'm scoring. Cassidy seems to be the problem.
Apparently.
Um,
Apparently.
So nothing.
Although let's not act like Cassidy
No, he's not
had
bad.
a bad record.
No, he's not bad.
While he was with Boston, but
He
like,
just lost
they're-
the room.
Boston is like god tier, at least in the regular season so far, in this season. So like, okay,
Yeah,
I guess
He just lost the Boston room. That's
yeah,
it.
That's what it seems like.
Because with DeBrusk rescinding the trade request as soon as he left,
Yeah,
and Krejci coming
right,
back,
yeah,
like-
right, yeah.
um,
Maybe Cassidy's just a dick.
see,
You know,
yeah.
so some people are just dicks.
Yeah, some people are dicks, and
Yeah.
some people don't work well with that kind of a dick.
Yeah.
Detroit news: Ole Mata signed a new contract extension,
Yay.
2 years, $3 million.
That's fine for him.
It's fine for him.
Yay, Ole Mata.
All right, moving on to Florida: Radko Gudas and Sam
Stanley
Bennett.
Cup champion Ole Mata, by the way, with the Pittsburgh Penguins.
Shut up. Are both day to day with undisclosed injuries. Those could turn into
Did you say
something.
Gudas and who?
and Sam Bennett.
And Sam Bennett. Okay.
Also, Anthony Duclair seemed to have shed his non-contact jersey.
Oh, that'll be like the first time he plays this year, right?
Exactly. He tore his ACL, not ACL, Achilles.
That'll be a
Last
boon
year.
for Florida. Hopefully the Max Pacioretty
Right.
thing doesn't happen to Duclair.
Right.
Fingers
Oh
crossed.
no, he tore his Achilles before Pacioretty did. Like
Oh,
they're
so his
not
was worse.
They're not rushing him
Oh,
back.
gotcha. Okay. Well, that's good. I like Anthony Duclair. There's been several times I was like, be on the Penguins, and then he just isn't.
I mean, Duclair was one of the guys that even I remember Tortorella saying this when he was on Columbus. He's just one of the guys who just needed that hockey IQ to jump.
He
up.
got it the last
And-
few years,
but
yeah.
he did.
He's got it now. It's a
Um,
little late in his career, but
who cares?
he got it. Yeah. He's
Figured-
had a
he
few
figured it
pretty
out.
good years. Yeah, he figured it out.
Montreal Kirby Dach is day to day with an illness. He didn't play in the last game.
Montreal's Kirby Doc, too?
Yeah.
Oh, I'm sorry. Yeah, no, you're right. He has a brother named Colton Doc.
Oh, okay.
And I got them confused. No, you're right. My bad.
The good Doc.
The good Doc. Not the bad Doc.
No.
Like Dr. Jordan Peterson.
I was wondering where you would take that.
I didn't know for a second there, but we
Doc
got there.
Oz?
Oh,
Dr.
yeah.
Phil?
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, fuck all those guys.
Bad Docs.
Yeah, bad docs.
All right, for Ottawa, we talked about the trade. Nick Holden is on the IR with an upper body, and then Austin Watson is day to day with an illness. I'm partially ready to be done with the trade rumors and the deadline, just because
We're getting there.
I'm more just annoyed with all the speculation.
I know.
Like,
It's so stupid.
this is in the other league, but like Pugliavari, people are talking about him
Yeah.
moving. because
I mean, I could see him getting traded.
it's
not working in Edmonton for him.
exactly.
Yeah.
They basically made it clear that it's not happening in Edmonton. So they've thought about waiving.
Trade him for Eric Carlson.
They've thought about waiving him. They're not gonna waive him because
I think somebody would grab him off of waivers.
right.
Yeah.
But he wasn't on the morning skate or a practice.
Yeah, so everybody's reading way too much into every single thing that's happening right now.
A stomach bug has been ripping through Edmonton's team. So, like,
Yeah, that's all it is.
let the man poop in peace.
Now, to be clear, there have been some guys held out of the lineup, and the team has said for trade-related reasons.
Like Chychrun and
Yeah, another one.
and Mott
before
he got traded.
He got traded immediately after that, but, you know.
There's been a couple of guys.
I do love this part of the year and the beginning of like the off season too,
Right.
because there's so many wild rumors that are just thrown out there, like Timo Meyer's getting traded to Toronto. Like, no, he isn't.
No.
For what money? And for what? And then he's not going to sign there,
Right.
Because he's going to want like $10+ million in the off season.
All right, we got to keep moving. Tampa Bay, Cernak. This happened yesterday. Is day to day with an upper body, so again, that might turn into more of a long term injury. And then already talked about for Toronto. Already talked about Murray moving to the LTIR.
Yep.
Sandin is dealing with something. He's undisclosed, and right now it's day to day. So we'll see what happens there. And that's what I got.
All right, let's move on to the Central Division. And as always, on this side of the table, we do everything in alphabetical order.
It's because you don't have a learning disability.
I didn't know what you were going to say. I thought you were going to say creativity, and I was like, you're right.
No, it's
Learning disability, you're also right.
Yeah.
At least not that I know of.
disorder, disability. It didn't hurt that much.
ADD.
Yeah, ADD.
Let's start with Arizona, who went 3-0-1 this week. What a week for
Ruining
Arizona.
the tank.
I don't think Arizona is tanking right now. They got a high draft pick, and what was that kid's name?
The players never tank. It doesn't matter.
No, that's true. But I don't think Arizona is tanking just kind of in general, because they've kind of been around this level where they have a couple bad weeks and then a couple really good weeks and then a couple really bad weeks.
They're doing what Steve Yzerman's doing with Detroit. They're building through the draft.
Hi, baby.
And that takes time.
Hi, do you have an opinion on Arizona?
Yzerman. I don't know. I said the Y. So
Yzerman.
Yzerman. That's
He has
very.
he has a
very
name.
Pittsburgh. Yzerman.
Yinzerman. That's I mean, to be fair, he does have one of those names that if you don't know how to say it, you would look at it and be like, "What is that? What is that name?"
Roy.
Yeah, exactly.
Wow.
And it's so weird because Yzerman, you would be like, "Oh, okay, he's from Europe. He's Canadian." It's so funny. It's just such an interesting name. Anyway, Arizona 3-0-1 this week, beating Nashville 4-2 to begin the week, where they were outshot 31-19. Logan Krause had 2 goals, while Keller, Marcelli, and Moser each had 2 assists. They then beat Tampa Bay in a shootout, as Clay already mentioned, the double shutout. Connor Ingram, 47 saves, and Schmaltz and Keller had the shootout goals in that game. They then lost in a shootout in like basically the opposite fashion to LA 6-5
Well, all 5 goals were from Vejmelka.
on Vejmelka.
Yes.
Oh, sorry.
Ingram was the one who came in relief and went 27 for 27.
To be fair to Arizona, they came back from being down 5-1.
Yes, they did.
And took it to a shootout. Clayton Keller then obviously they eventually lost, but still, hey, you got to give them credit.
Shootout, no shame.
No shame. Clayton Keller had 2 goals, while Brown and Boyd each had a goal and an assist. And then Arizona beat Columbus in overtime 3-2. Brett Hayton had the overtime game winner, and Connor Ingram 34 of 36 in that game.
That's
the one that lit up
game.
goals
I
in
didn't
there.
realize he let one in.
Clayton Keller is one of their top players with 2 goals and 3 assists. But hey, Marcelli had 5 assists on the week. And Connor Ingram was 2-0 with a 0.68 goals against and 0.981 save percentage with that shutout.
Good for him.
Moving on to Chicago, that had I'm realizing now that there are several teams in the Central Division that went 2-2, and they began the week by losing 2 and then won 2 to end the week. But that's what Chicago did, getting shut out by Montreal. Not shameful. They're about on the same level, I would feel like.
And Allen was in net for Montreal, so that's a...
And losing to Toronto 5-2, as Clay already mentioned. Beating Ottawa in overtime 4-3, as Clay mentioned. But Patrick Kane, 2 goals in this game. Domi and McCabe each had 2 assists. Athanasiou with the overtime game winner. And they came back from being down 3-1 in that game.
Yes, they were.
And then Chicago, as Clay already mentioned, beat Toronto.
Beat the tar out of them.
5-3. Max Domi, a goal and 3 assists in this game.
I can't say beat the tar out of them because Toronto fought back, but still looked really good for certain points.
And Patrick Kane had a hat trick.
Yes, he did.
And an assist on top of that. He's making some sort of plea to be traded off of Chicago.
Especially since Jonathan Taves declared that he, isn't getting traded.
I don't think I wrote it down, so we can talk about it right now. Jonathan Taves is apparently dealing with long COVID
and another
illness that he has been trying to fight through the entire season and last season too, and it's just not working. And he and the team are shutting him down.
Yeah,
essentially for the rest of the year.
The announcement was basically,
and it seems like maybe
and retirement. Yeah, that was a retirement announcement without saying retirement.
Yeah, I'm sure he'll probably say that in the off season. But if that is the end, that sucks. Much like Marian Hossa, that's not how you like to see guys go out. But similar to Marian Hossa, I believe he'll definitely get his number retired by Chicago and maybe make the Hall of Fame. I don't know about Taves.
That's up in the air.
Kane, I could see more making the Hall of Fame, but he's still playing. So
I mean, Kane is solidly the 3rd all-time American goal scorer. So I see him.
And I think he could probably reach the top by the end of his career.
Yeah.
Who's even in front of him? Madonna and who else?
I have no idea.
He's up there with best American player of all time.
Right.
So Kane, I can see just off of that making it to the Hall of Fame, but he's still playing. He's not.
He gave a lot of, in that Toronto game, he gave a lot of Flyers fans who were watching that game PTSD because he sent, it was either his 2nd or 3rd goal, he banked it off Samsonov. Which, again, with wearing the whites, hearing that song.
Yeah, right, exactly.
What?
Where he was the only one who knew he scored.
Oh yeah, he's
against the Flyers.
He pointed before everyone.
Cup final, yeah, I remember that. My friends at college were devastated. Anyway, Max Domi is one of their top players of the week with a goal and 6 assists.
Mm-hmm.
Dang, look at him. Patrick Kane had 5 goals and an assist this week.
They tried, because again, watching this game, they were talking about no Blackhawks players scored 4 goals since Michael Nylander. They really?
I'm surprised Patrick Kane hasn't had a 4-goal game.
He's not.
Interesting.
They were trying to give him the puck.
Oh, for that empty netter to get it.
Yeah, they were trying to do that. But Kane assisted Matt Domi's empty net.
Matt Domi.
I heard.
Good old Matt Domi.
I heard it come out my mouth. And it was funny. They were trying to force it to Kane. And then Toronto almost came back and scored. Like the tying goal. It's just like, how bad would you have felt? Because Kane was trying to make the assist so someone could get it.
Stop it.
Exactly.
Just score. Yeah. Let's move on to the reigning Stanley Cup champions, the Colorado Avalanche, who are starting to look much, much more like the Colorado Avalanche from last year, going 3-0-1 this week.
Mm-hmm.
Beginning the week with a shootout loss to Tampa Bay, as Clay already mentioned. Nate McKinnon had a goal and an assist in that game. Colorado did outshoot Tampa Bay 46-35. They then beat Minnesota 3-2, where they were outshot 43-19.
Yep.
43-19.
43-19.
McKinnon had another goal and an assist in this game, while Devon Toews had 2 assists, and Georgiev was 41-43.
Good for him.
Then Colorado beat St. Louis 4-1, where they outshot them 33-20. They were 2 for 4 on the power play. Bowen Byram had 2 goals, while McKinnon, Compher, and Sam Girard each had 2 assists. And then Colorado finished off their week by beating Edmonton in overtime 6-5.
where Edmonton was up 3-0 at
Oh, were they? I didn't write
a
that part
certain
down.
point.
Nice. Good job, Edmonton.
Yeah.
JT Compher had a goal and 3 assists. He's played very well for them this
playing
year.
very well.
Nate McKinnon, goal and 2 assists in this game. Sam Girard, another 2 points and 2 assists. And Mikko Rantanen with the overtime game winner. The only one of their top 6, knock on wood, that
Hasn't gotten hurt.
has not been injured this year. Nate McKinnon is their top player of the week, though, with 3 goals and 6 assists.
God damn.
Yes. Let's move on to Dallas, who did not have a good week. I'm not sure if they're... You know what? We'll look at the standings at the very end of the episode. But Dallas was atop the Central. I'm not sure if they're still atop the Central. But they went 0-1-2 this week.
I don't think Winnipeg is having a good time either this week, so who knows?
No, not really. Colorado is who I'm
Right.
wondering if maybe they're making
Maybe making moves.
progress there. Losing, Dallas lost to Boston to begin the week 3-2, as Clay already mentioned. Robertson had a goal and an assist in that game, while Pavelski had 2 assists. They lost to Minnesota in a shootout 2-1. Jake Ottinger tried his best, 31 of 32 in that game. He tried his best. And then they lost to Columbus 4-1. That is very shameful.
That is very
That's
shameful.
shameful.
That's bad.
Dallas, shame on you.
No.
Ottinger, you might think they don't have a top player, but goddamn did Ottinger try his very best this week to get them a win. He went 0-2 with a 187 goals against and a 942 save percentage. Get the man a goal. Get this poor man a goal. Good Lord. Sorry, I was itching my foot.
Pavelski, do something.
He is doing something. More like Tyler Seguin and Jamie Benn do something.
I know.
Anyway, let's move on to Minnesota. 2-1-1 this week. Losing to Florida 2-1 in a shootout, as Clay already mentioned. Gustafsson, 33 of 34. 0 for 5 on the power play in that game, but hey, 7 for 7 on the penalty kill.
Yep.
So, losing to Colorado 3-2, as I just mentioned, where they outshot them by a very wide margin. And then beating Dallas, as I just mentioned, in a shootout 2-1, where Goudreau, not that Goudreau, the other one,
Freddie.
and Boldy had the shootout goals, while Gustafsson was 29 of 30 in that game, and then beating Nashville 4-3, where Kaprizov had 2 goals, Hartman had a goal and an assist, and Zuccarello, who I didn't mention at all in any of those, is one of their top players with a goal and 4 assists.
Good job.
And Kaprizov had 4 goals, and Gustafsson went 2-0-1 this week with a 158 goals against and a 944 save percentage.
A problem that I saw with Minnesota. Mm-hmm. Saw a stat. It's been 400 minutes of playing time, of game time, where they have not scored a goal without Kaprizov on the ice.
Oh, that's really bad.
That's really bad.
400 minutes?
Yes. And that was before the Nashville game.
That's 6.5 games. Good God.
If Kaprizov hasn't been on the ice, they don't score.
How did they win 2 games this week?
I don't
That's
know.
really bad.
I saw that stat and it's just like, oh, they had a bad week this week.
No, they didn't actually. Yeah.
But it's
They
just
had
been
an
the
alright
top.
week.
It's been the top
Well,
2.5
I
lines.
wonder who's playing with Kaprizov and probably Boldy
Zuccarello.
and Zuccarello. Yeah, it's
And
probably
also
their
power
top
play
line.
stuff.
Yeah,
Hartman might have been on there,
right.
and
That's not a good stat.
they had 5 players that were, part of this that were the only guys who scored. So their bottom
not a
6
good-
isn't doing anything.
I'll be honest, I don't know off the top of my head. I would not be surprised if Pittsburgh had a very similar stat.
Cool.
Where not the top 2 lines haven't scored at all.
Right.
So, moving on to Nashville, who did not have a good week. 1-3. They were 8 for 12 on the PK this week.
That's not good.
No, not at all.
Not good at all.
Lost to Arizona 4-2, where they outshot Arizona 31-19, which I think I mentioned
You did.
already. Getting shut out by Boston 5-0. Hey,
I did see that, yeah.
they stomped Florida 7-3. They got that to hang their hat on.
All right.
McDonough had 3 assists. Yossi a goal and 2 assists, and Novak 2 goals. Johansson, I don't know with him.
I think it's Johansson.
Whatever.
It's the other Johansson who
Yeah, he's
changes
not
the name.
Marcus. He's Ryan Johansson. I think it's Johansson because he's American, I think.
Yeah.
So, well, I could be wrong. It doesn't matter.
I have no
You know
idea.
who I'm talking about. You guys know who I'm talking about. He had a goal and assist in that game.
Good for him.
And then they lost to Minnesota 4-3 to end the week. But hey, Tommy Novak, a goal and 2 assists, while Roman Josi had a goal and an assist. And guess what? Josi is their top player with 3 goals and 3 assists this week.
I got.
Remember last year how Johansson and Duchesne both had like 40 goals?
Yeah.
What happened to that? Where'd those guys go?
I don't know.
I don't know either.
Well, it was because Johansson was one of the guys that needed to perform because he was in a contract year.
No, not even. Both of them are signed like long term. You're thinking of Forsberg.
Yeah,
Forsberg had a good year last year, and then they re-signed him. And I don't think Forsberg's doing. I don't know. I don't have their stats off the top of my head, but like, I don't think they're doing terrible, but they're not doing what they were last year. So like,
but they're always middle of the road, and normally that's good enough to make the playoffs in the West.
Not this year, I don't think. Prompting. We'll look again.
Too many teams have stepped up in the West.
We'll see how many points back they are, but it has prompted a bunch of talking heads to be like, I don't know what Nashville's going to do. They might sell, they might buy. It's unclear, but they're like, I think at the beginning of this week they were 5 points back, and seeing as they lost 3 games this week, that's certainly did not help.
Not gonna help.
Probably made it worse. So I don't know. I'm interested to see what they do. I mean, they have defensive depth that they could trade, but I don't know that they want to.
Right.
You know, they're not going to trade Josi, certainly.
No.
I think their other big defenseman is Ekholm. I don't think they trade. I don't know. I don't know
the Central at all. I'm sorry. I don't know the Central at all.
Oh, I'm just speculating off the top of my head right now. But I don't know. Let's move on to St. Louis.
I was more saying that because I can't help you with this conversation.
Oh yeah, you're right. No. You're just the person I talk at.
Yeah, for the Central.
Have you guys figured that out
100%.
about this podcast? That's mostly just it's a lot of me just talking at Clay.
That's fine. I'm happy with it.
St. Louis.
I'm here to listen.
I'm here to listen and learn. St. Louis had a weird week.
Yes,
they started the week. Well, they ended up being 2-2 this week.
Mm-hmm.
Started the week by beating Florida 6-2.
Yep.
Where Barbashev, who might get traded, had a goal and 2 assists. Shen had 2 goals, and Thomas had 2 assists.
Barbashev is probably getting traded. That's
I would
the
think
last
so.
good,
I think that's the
piece.
last one that they would probably want to move. Like, obviously, they're not going to trade Kyrou, Thomas, or Buchnevich, who have had good years and an otherwise really bad year for St. Louis. They might trade Shen, but I don't think they would get much for him.
Wrong team is trading Shen. Vancouver.
Right. Yeah. Hey, they beat New Jersey 4-2 in their second game of the week. Not much else to say about that. Pretty spread out scoring, but good win against a pretty hot New Jersey team. They then lost to Colorado 4-1, where they were 2 for 4 in the PK, as I already mentioned.
Oof.
And then got smoked by Ottawa 7-2. Smoked. Hey, Kyrou had 2 goals and 3 assists this week, though. Silver lining.
Good for him.
Yeah, there you go.
Yeah.
But as we already mentioned, St. Louis has pretty much given up on the year. They've already traded O'Reilly and Tarasenko, probably Barbashev in the coming weeks.
Get something for him.
You know, hey,
get something
they're loading up. They're starting to kind of I wouldn't call it a rebuild, but
retool is what they like to call
it. So we'll see if they're successful.
Board.
No.
Then why don't you talk about Winnipeg and fix that while I'm talking?
Winnipeg. Shut up. Winnipeg went 1-2 this week. Oh, I'm sorry. Hold on.
Did you get dyslexic right there?
They went 1-1 this week.
Ah, okay.
Yeah, my bad. Oh, no. They won the game in the shootout. Sorry. I'm sorry. 1-2 this week. They beat Seattle in a shootout 3-2, where they outshot Seattle 40-29, and Scheifele had the only shootout goal between the two teams. They then lost to Columbus. Shame. 3-1.
Ring the bell.
Where shame. We should get a bell.
We should get a bell. It's got to be a small, tiny, ding. Yeah. We'll think about it.
Oh no, we'll have one next week. I'll buy it on Amazon. They outshot Columbus 38-24 in that game, but still lost. And then lost to New Jersey 4-2. No shame in that one.
No,
really.
not at all.
Neil Pionk had a goal and an assist, while Mark Scheifele had 2 assists. David Riddick is their top player because he, much like Ottinger, tried his best. He was 1 for 1 with a 195 goals against and a .923 save percentage.
All right, not bad.
I don't have much news between my two conferences because I don't do like day-to-day injuries and
Yeah.
stuff. So I just save them for the very end.
That's fair.
Yeah.
A lot of times the day-to-day stuff can turn into like weeks.
There, I untangled it immediately.
Good job. It can turn into weeks, so that's why I like to mention when they start getting hurt, and also like guys that missed a game or two.
Yeah,
Big guys that missed a game or two.
big boys.
All right. We talk about the Pacific. Don't look at me like that. Don't wink at me. I'm talking to Ruthie, not Bert.
My dog is so dramatic sometimes.
All right, so we are going to start the Pacific with Edmonton.
They're the farthest east.
They are the farthest east.
East.
Well, think about the Pacific. So,
I guess that's true.
Yeah.
Most of them are on the west coast. Yeah.
like, on the actual
Yeah,
coast.
yeah. Was that 5 of the 8 are on the
Yes.
like on the ocean essentially?
Not Anaheim.
Yeah,
Even
but
though they
Anaheim and LA are like the same city.
they are.
Yeah.
It's basically the same city, but yes. Edmonton was 0
Oh.
and 3.
Oh my.
They are
They
now
say legged out those loser points, I
they
guess.
got those loser points. They were 30, 19, and 8 on the season. They have 68 points. They're in 4th place right now. They lost in a shootout.
It's insane the season that McDavid is having, and they're in 4th place. It's crazy to me.
McDavid's about to hit 800 career points. He's already hit.
He's at
100.
100, and I think it was 56 games this year.
Yes.
Yeah, that's nuts.
They lost in a shootout to Detroit, like I said earlier. Ryan Nugent-Hopkins had 2 goals and an assist. They were 0 for 2 on the penalty kill, so that's not what you want.
No.
And then they lost in a shootout to the Rangers,
Yeah. Wow, steal my thunder. God.
where Fogle had 2 goals in that game. He had the first 2 goals of that
I
game.
forgot Warren Fogle was on Edmonton.
They were 2 for 2 on the power play,
Okay.
2 for 2 on the penalty kill.
Okay.
Also, they gave up a shorthanded goal, so 1 for 4 on the power play,
1 for 2 on the power play.
2 for 4.
Oh, you said 2 for 2.
Sorry, that was my bad.
Or I was just not listening, apparently.
Either could have been correct.
You know what?
We're a couple
you guys,
beers in.
you know what? You guys go ahead. Go ahead, rewind. You tell me who's right. Email me
2 for 4.
at clay@gmail.com.
Yep.
I wish that was your email. It was
It's-
just clay.
it's not.
gmail.com. Like,
That'd be
you were
amazing.
such an early adopter to Gmail.
So, Edmonton's coach, Woodcroft, complained that they've lost the last 2 games in skills competition. So, Colorado did them the favor in not letting them get to the skills competition
Oh, the skills competition.
By
That's a
beating-
funny way to call a shootout.
by beating them in overtime.
I mean, I like my version of shootout where you just say it's a coin flip.
Yeah, right. Woodcroft did say skills competition.
I like that better.
And then
That's
they
funny.
blew a 3-goal lead to Colorado and
Yes, they did.
lost in overtime.
Let's save you the
Yeah.
embarrassment
Save
of
you the
losing
embarrass-
another skills competition.
Yep. They were, even in the third period, they were up 5-3.
Oh, they even blew that.
They
too.
blew that.
Yeah, they blew a 3-goal lead and then a 2-goal lead.
Yep. It was pretty back and forth,
Yeah.
I think.
You're not going to win a lot of games doing
No.
that shit.
And that's the problem with Edmonton right now. Is
They don't have defense. They don't have any defense. And
Well-
then their goalies are
before
okay at best.
in the beginning of the season, they couldn't catch another team once that team got in the lead.
Yeah.
Now they can't
No, they can't hold on to
hold
a lead. Yeah.
So we'll see what happens.
Eric Carlson incoming.
Nugent Hopkins had a goal and assist in that game.
Okay.
That lost to Colorado. They were 3 for 8 on the power play. Not bad.
No, not bad
Yeah,
at all.
2 for 8 with the adjusted.
Yeah, that's still not that bad.
No,
not bad at all.
But 6 for 10 on the penalty kill.
That's really bad.
That's not what you want.
No, that's bad.
Not what you
bad,
want.
bad, bad, bad.
And in fact, funnily enough, they were 4 for 4 against Colorado.
Huh.
Yeah. So they didn't even blow didn't
It was all 5-on-5,
all
baby.
5-on-5.
Oh, that 5-on-5.
We mentioned McDavid is having a
Yeah.
stellar year.
Oh yeah,
But
one for the ages.
this week, Ryan Nugent-Hopkins is their top player with 3 goals and 3 assists.
Look at him.
Yeah.
He's like, see, Connor, I can do it too.
Well, Connor
I was also a number 1 overall pick.
McDavid did have 6 points as well, but they were all assists.
Oh, whatever. We get it. It's like with Boston. We get it.
Right. Well,
You're the best player.
hey, I mean, that's why I put Hopkins, because goals, like assists, also count for secondary assists.
We get it.
See, I wish soccer did secondary assists,
Yeah.
because
Secondary assists can be like helpful. you know?
they're super helpful.
Because a lot of times they're
It's
the
that-
one that actually sets the play
It's
up.
that key
Yeah.
pass that sets the play up. So I do.
And sometimes they're just like, oh, I got a lucky point.
Right.
You know, sometimes that is what happens. But
I really like the secondary assist, and I wish soccer added that.
yeah, I like when a goalie gets an assist.
I
It's always
love it.
fun.
I love it when it's a primary.
Yeah, where they like just launch it down the ice to somebody who just like slam dunks it into the net.
Yep.
Yeah, that's awesome when that happens.
All right, we're gonna move on to Calgary, because Edmonton and Calgary are always linked. It just has to be.
Alberta.
Yep. 1-1-1 on the week.
It's just like to a different extent the Pittsburgh Penguins and the Washington Capitals.
Different extent, but
It's just like us. Just like us. Our friendship.
your hands are clammy.
Your hands are cold.
They're always cold.
Well, I'm holding
I'm
cold
dead
beer.
inside,
Calgary.
and I have bad circulation.
That's
more of
I have
it.
like good circulation.
I have bad circulation.
I'm a good bleeder. A doctor told me that.
My hands are a little purple. 1-1-1.
It's not even a joke. A doctor told me I'm a good bleeder.
I'm not joking either. My hands are purple. It's not even cold out.
I warm them up.
Baby. 26, 19, and 11 on the season. They 63 points there. That's 5th in the conference. Division. They lost to Ottawa in overtime, like I said before. Markstrom in net. He's having a bad. We have been talking.
Gonna have a bad time.
We have been talking about how defense just doesn't step up in front of Markstrom.
Yeah.
He's also not playing well. Like
No.
it's a little column A, a little column B.
Does his team hate him? I always wonder that
I
when
know.
the team plays really bad defense in front of a goalie. Like, do they just not like him?
He is not feeling himself because
Well, his what's it called? Confidence is rattled.
exactly.
So that's hard to get back, you know, especially as a goalie.
It's hard being on the East Coast and all these Pacific teams with 10 o'clock start times. I don't watch as much as I should.
Those games, yeah.
But I watched the Ottawa game, and like a lot of these goals, he was so far back in his own net. It's just like, oh, you need to be more aggressive.
And just like, what are you doing?
Yeah.
What you doing, boo boo?
What
you doing?
You can tell that his confidence is hit, and that's unfortunate to see. Dylan Dubé had 2 goals in that game. I already mentioned that they outshot Ottawa 37-25. I think I did. They outshot Ottawa 37-25. Then they lost to Detroit. Vladar was in net there. They were 2 for 4 on the power play, but 2 for 4 on the penalty kill. But they got shorthanded, so that makes it a little better.
Yeah, that does.
A little better.
Yeah, that essentially makes it 3 for 4.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's fine. That's
And
fine.
then they they beat the Rangers in overtime.
Hell yeah.
Markstrom played all right. It was enough to get the win.
Take that, New York.
Backlund had the game-winning goal in that game. Their scoring was pretty spread out. They did outshoot the Rangers 32-20. So they had offensively
That's
a
pretty
lot of control.
significant against the Rangers, honestly, because the
is.
Rangers have a lot of firepower.
They don't have a top player. A lot of their scoring was really spread out, so they don't have a
That's
top
fair.
player.
Yeah.
Next up is Vegas.
Bayhas.
2-0 this week. Aiden Hill is in net both games because, again, Logan Thompson
Vegas
is
has been
hurt.
having a good couple of years. Or couple of seasons. Or, oh my God.
Weeks?
This podcast's over.
Yep, that's it. That you're done.
Podcast's over. A couple of weeks, yeah.
Yeah, no, they're clawing themselves back into solid first in the division.
They retook that first place.
34, 18, and 4, 72 points. They beat San Jose and then they did that statement win against Tampa Bay, which was 5-4. And this San Jose win, I'll talk about when we get to San Jose, but it was a 2-1 win. Mm-hmm. It was a very close game. Carrier had the game-winning goal against San Jose. Did it with like a minute left.
Ooh.
Carrier has like 12 goals max on the season.
Isn't he a defenseman?
Carrier?
Yeah.
You might be right.
If he has 12 goals, that's pretty good for a defenseman.
7 of his goals are game winners.
That's crazy.
Yes,
That's crazy.
Clutch for Vegas this year.
Oh, it's like, yeah. That's pretty nuts. He's one of those guys who scores big goals, but he doesn't score that often.
Right.
Yeah. That's a skill, though. That is a skill, though. You know, there's certain big game players out there that are like, maybe their stats don't look that good, but then like you got him in a game 7 situation, and then he scores those goals for you, and you're like, oh fuck, this is why we have this guy. Yeah.
Right. And I forgot what I was about to say. Carrier. It was with.
He's handsome.
Of course. Most of the hockey guys are.
Not all of them. Most of them.
That's what I said. Most of them. Again, with a minute or under in this game.
That's crazy.
2 minutes max. Still, like,
big
very
goal,
clutch,
big goal.
very end of the game. Yeah. That 5-4 win, Jonathan Marchessault had
Yeah, whatever. Close enough.
2 goals in that 5-4 victory. But Shea Theodore is their top player in those 2 games. 1 goal, 3 assists.
Good old Shea.
That's really all I have to say about them.
All right.
Anaheim did the opposite. 0-2.
Goddamn Anaheim.
Getting stomped by Buffalo.
Connor Bedard's going to look real good in that jersey.
He is going to bring back the eggplant and teal.
Him and Zegras down the middle with Adam Henrique, potentially if they don't trade it, Henrique.
And Troy Terry.
And Torrey Terry.
It's only when he's playing bad.
Plus McTavish and Drysdale whenever he gets healthy.
Whenever Drysdale gets hit.
They could be maybe not winning a lot of games next year, but they could be fun to watch. I mean, they're pretty fun to watch right now. They're just really bad defensively.
It's the same with Vancouver.
That's true.
It's so fun to watch them, but they're bad defensively.
Like, oh man, this team does not play defense.
Even a little bit. But they got stomped by Buffalo 3-7. Derek Grant is back from his car crash.
Hey, good. That's great. That's good to hear.
2 assists in that game.
I forgot he got. Who? Oh, it was somebody on Calgary that got hit by a car, right?
Yeah.
Anderson? Rasmus Anderson?
Yes, yeah. Rasmus Anderson.
But he was okay, too. He didn't get seriously injured.
Derek Grant, at the new year, around that time, on the way to the Boston game, got in a car accident.
That's right.
And then they lost to the Kings 3-6. Gibson was in net there.
Yep.
5 for 9 on the penalty kill.
Oh my God. What were those games? 3-7 and 3-6. Is that what you said?
Yes.
Yeah, that's bad.
I mean, they're putting up 3 goals a game.
They really want that number 1 overall pick. I'm just saying, he'll look great.
Mason McTavish did have one of the goals in that Kings game, so he ended up being one of the stars on the ESPN's list.
Connor Bedard will look great in an Anaheim jersey.
Yes.
But God knows he'll probably go to somewhere in the Metro. Just knowing our luck.
But not one of our teams.
Philadelphia Flyers. I can see it.
Don't put that evil on me.
I can see it.
It's still orange.
I can see it.
Yeah.
I can see it happening.
You'd say he looked good in the black and orange.
For some reason, the last 5 to 10 years, somebody in our division always bumps up to the top 3 in the draft. Right. And then that person plays pretty well for them.
Of course.
Unless it's Alex Lafreniere, who has been okay at best for New York Rangers. But
recently he's been okay. Yeah, and that's still annoying.
Yeah.
All right. Los Angeles is up next because Anaheim and LA are in the same city, for the most part. 3-0 this week.
Yeah. Go LA.
32, 18-7, 71 points.
Oh, they're right behind Vegas.
There.
Right there.
They beat Buffalo 5-2. Phoenix Copley in net there. They were adjusted 5 for 5 on the penalty kill.
Nice.
Philip Deneau had 3 assists in that game. Then they went to Anaheim and beat them, like I said, 6-3. Copley started this game. He was 16 for 17, and then he got kicked out of the game
Yeah, he did.
for punching Vetrano in the face.
Let the goalies fight.
Quick has been trying to get in a goalie fight for
Gibson
years.
wanted to fight.
Gibson wanted to fight. He came
He
on over.
came to center ice.
And again, Quick has been trying to fight somebody.
I understand.
He almost fought Howard years ago. He's been trying to fight someone for 15 years.
I understand that Ray Emery almost killed Braden Holtby, and that's why we don't have goalie fights anymore for the most part. And nobody should fight a goalie except for the other goalie.
Yeah, that's it.
But if they're both willing to do it, let them do it. Because it's so funny to watch two guys that have pads that make them look like sumo wrestlers try to punch each other. It's hilarious.
So here's the thing. There was a little bit of a scrum in front of the net. Frank Vetrano punched Copley in the face.
He punched Copley in the face?
He punched Copley in the face. And that's why
I saw Copley punch him in the back of the head or whatever it was.
Yeah, so
with his blocker, which is hard as hell.
Which is why he got the match penalty and got kicked.
Yeah, that makes sense. Yeah, it makes sense.
If you throw
kind of deserved.
It's part of that rule change with after the Emery incident. If you throw a shot with the blocker, you're gone.
Yeah. That's
it.
The blocker is...
It's an automatic match penalty.
I mean, the blocker is like... I don't think it's wood anymore, but
it's plywood in your...
it's either plywood or really hard plastic on your arm, and that's a you're wearing a buckler. You're wearing a buckler from like old fantasy novels, you know?
But Vetrano did need to get beat.
Yeah, I mean, I'm not saying it was unwarranted. But
no, Copley was just standing there, and an arm comes out and punches Copley in the face, and that's why like 3 people were on top of him, including Copley, just swinging.
Do you remember years ago? I think it was during a just thinking of goalies and scrums. I think it was an outdoors game.
Was it Rask?
No, it was. I think it was Tim Thomas. Maybe it was Rask.
Rask has had some of those things.
It was Boston, definitely.
Yeah, I think it was Rask.
I think it might have been against the Flyers. I'm not 100% certain, but whoever it was, Rask or Tim Thomas, I think it might have been Rask. I think you're right.
They didn't toss Rask.
There was some pushing and shoving. Well, the reason they didn't toss Rask was there was some pushing and shoving, and he like cross-checked whoever it was in front of him in anger. But as he was doing that, I think it was the Flyers scored immediately on him.
Oh, that's hilarious.
Because he was doing that while somebody was taking a point shot. And so he just like stepped out of the net and they just scored an easy goal. Yep. And it was really embarrassing.
Yep.
That's why he didn't get a match penalty. Because they were like, that's embarrassing enough.
No, you deserve that. But yeah, Phoenix Copley got thrown out of that game. They outshot the Ducks 41-27. Kevin Fiala had a goal and 2 assists. Yeah. It's a fun game to watch.
Let the goalies fight.
Let the goalies fight.
Let them fight. Just like one of my favorite recent movies, Godzilla.
But yeah, Phoenix, like, I know Gibson came out.
Let them fight.
I know Gibson came out. It's just like, I'll just stand here in case.
He did. He came to center ice.
Copley was very focused on one person.
Understandable.
He didn't want to fight.
Understandable. I mean, getting punched in the face. Yeah, I get it. Yeah. Gibson was like, let me do something.
Right.
God, I hate the defense that I'm on.
I hate this team.
Dallas
Eakins sucks as a coach. He's the new Torrey Kruger.
I wonder if Gibson's going to get traded at the trade deadline. His contract's not that bad. Is it like 6?
It's 5.
6 and change?
I think it's 5.
I think 5 and change with like 3 or 4 years left on it. Not bad at all. I would love to see him on a team that has like an actual defense.
I think he's a good goalie. I think he just gets bored /
He just knows he's on a bad team.
Right.
You know? And
he's just getting shelled all the time.
Well, in those years where Anaheim was like still kind of good, he was like in the talk for Vezina every year. Yeah. So I do wonder if he got traded to. I don't know where he would get traded to, but like if he got traded somewhere that had a halfway decent defense,
he would be excellent.
He would be amazing.
He'd be back in the talk of top 5.
So here I am, Ron Hextall, pleading to you, trade something for John Gibson to the Pittsburgh Penguins. Bring the boy home. Bring him home. Well, our defense is really bad too, but like, it's a little better than Anaheim's.
again, wet
I'm
cardboard.
just saying.
Wet cardboard's better than Anaheim's defense.
That's true. That's what Pittsburgh has is wet cardboard,
oh, good.
essentially, yeah.
They were 6 for 11 on the power play.
Are we talking about LA?
The Kings.
Like
6
not
for
talking
11.
about LA at
Oh,
all.
because we 6-5 shootout win against Arizona. They were done. Where the Kings did try to lose this game. They
tried
hard.
their best. They blew a 5-1 lead.
Tried so hard to lose this game. 6-11 for the power play. Kevin Fiala is their top player. 3 goals, 3 assists. San Jose is doing San Jose things
Yeah.
and losing 0 for 3 on the week.
Yeah.
They
Coming
lost.
back down to earth. They were doing all right there for a couple of weeks.
They lost to the Pittsburgh Penguins, which is not good right now.
San Jose is worse than the Penguins. Come on.
I know.
Come on. I'm not defending the Penguins, but still.
1-3 loss, so 1-2, empty net goal.
Oh yeah, there was an empty net goal.
Meyer had a goal in that game.
Yes, he did.
And then the 1-2 loss against Vegas, Kakinen stood on his head.
I love that there's a player named Capo Kakinen, which is who you were talking about. And then there's another player just named Capo Kako.
Yeah.
I love that. It's so funny.
So I didn't write this down. The Vegas outshot San Jose 38-24. Kakinen saved 36 for 38. He tried his hardest. He's their top player this game.
He tried his best.
He tried so hard.
It's funny. That's a thread this week. There's goalies that tried their best, and
he made some outstanding saves that were straight up highway robbery.
Oh, didn't he make like a scorpion save?
Yes.
At one point in this game, yeah, I did see some of these highlights.
If it wasn't for him playing out of his mind, this goal scoreline should have been 6-1.
Gotta hate that.
And the fact that they didn't at least get a loser point is tragic.
Yeah.
7 for 7 on the penalty kill that game.
Oh my god, that's so many penalties.
So many penalties.
Game, man.
And then they lost to Buffalo to finish off the week. They were actually perfect for the penalty kill.
Hey,
they don't get top player.
Oh.
They
did go 0-3.
If Kakinen had played all 3 games,
undefeated.
No, he would have been their top player because
2-1.
Yeah, but no. Seattle is up next.
We're on Erik Karlsson to Edmonton watch too.
Yeah, no, it's not happening.
It's not happening, it's so funny that there's so many theories.
Seattle went 2-0-1 this week. They are, last we saw, losing to San Jose. So
yes, we did see that for a moment while we were looking at stuff before.
San Jose is 17-29-11, 45 points. That's 7th.
17.
Yep.
Man.
Seattle 32-18-6. That's 70 points for 3rd. They lost in a shootout to Winnipeg, like Bert said already. Grubauer is the top player in that game, 38 for 40. They did get outshot, 29-40. So that's why he gets that top player.
Yeah.
They beat Philadelphia 6-2. Yanni Gourde had 2 goals and an assist. They were 2 for 1 on the penalty kill.
Good old Yanni.
2 for 1 on that penalty kill, and then beating Detroit to finish off the week 4-2. Grubauer 21 of 23. Jordan Eberle had 2 goals and an assist. They were 3 for 9 on the power play, and then 8 for 7 on the penalty kill, which is again good for Seattle.
Hell yeah,
good for Seattle. Jordan Eberle is their top player with 2 goals and 3 assists.
Nice.
We're finishing up with Vancouver 1-2 on the week. Good for them. They got the 1.
Vancouver is the most West city.
Yes.
Really? Interesting.
Yes, they are. It was the
gotta get a team in Anchorage to beat them out.
We need it. Yeah, they're just a smidge.
Just a smidge.
San Jose, Seattle, and Vancouver are all basically in line. They're just a smidge west of each other.
Oh, I guess now thinking about the West Coast, I guess it does dip down when you get to Southern California. I guess I never really thought of that.
All right. They started the week by losing to Detroit, 1-6, like I said earlier. 0-4 in the power play, 0-1 on the penalty kill.
Oh, I thought. Okay, I'm
Yeah,
sorry. I
that's
thought
bad.
you had that reversed for a second. I
No.
was like, 0 for 4 on the penalty kill.
No, it's just bad all around.
Yeah, that's
Just bad all around.
Bad, yeah.
Delia was in net there. For the Rangers, they lost 4-6.
Mm-hmm.
Silovs. Silovs? Silovs.
Yeah. Silovs.
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 I don't know who that is.
Sure.
I don't know
Had a
who
good game.
No, I mean he's their
He's
goalie
there in
right
their
now.
net? Oh, I have no.
Yeah, he's their goalie right
Okay.
now. He-
Who's that guy?
I don't know. That's why I brought him up.
Wasn't Thatcher Demko supposed to be back?
We'll get to that.
Where's Spencer Martin? Who's this kid?
I don't know. Spencer Martin got waived.
I know. Who's Silvos? Or Seelovs?
We'll go with Seelovs.
Seelovs, yeah.
Seelovs. Seelovs was in net, so that's why I'm not upset
Who's
about
that
losing
guy?
to the
Did he
Rangers.
just walk out on the street?
Kuzmenko was one goal, 1 assist.
I did see.
Kuzmenko's having a good time.
Yeah, he's having a pretty good year.
He's doing
This is his first year in
Right,
the
but
NHL, right?
yes.
Yeah.
He already signed a bridge deal for
No,
yeah,
I know. No, I know. I didn't
doing
realize. I didn't realize he has
At least 20.
4 goals.
Yes.
Because I was doing that game earlier
Mhm.
for my recaps, and I was like, oh, he has like 24, 25 goals.
He
That's
had-
pretty impressive.
He had
actually.
22 when they signed him to that bridge deal, so yeah.
Yeah, good for him. Kuzmenko.
And then they finished the week by beating Philadelphia
Yes, they did.
6-2.
Yeah, they beat the snot out of Philadelphia.
Silovs in net again.
We're changing his name every time we
I'm
say.
fine with that. I'm
Solovo.
uh
What? He's gonna win the Vezina like 2 years from now.
2 years from now,
Watch.
sure, but
Watch.
not this year.
Watch.
1 for 2 on the power play. 1 for 2 on the penalty kill. But they had 2 shorthanded goals.
2?
2.
Oh my God, Philly! What are
Not
you?
one, but
What
2.
are you doing,
So that brings their 2 for 4 penalty
Philly
kill.
baby? What you doing?
2 for 4 penalty kill on the week. To
four-
100%.
To 100%. Yeah. 4
All right.
for 4.
Pedersen had 5 points in that game, 2 goals and 3 assists. Both goals were empty nets, but they still count.
They were both empty net goals.
Yes.
That's funny.
Um,
I did see Konechny gave him an
Being a
elbow.
bitch, yeah.
Yeah, being a bitch at the end of the game there.
Yes.
Gave him
that
an
was-
elbow after he scored one of the empty net goals.
Yep.
And it was just like, what a dick move.
That should have
Come
been a
on, man.
penalty.
Yeah, I can't believe it wasn't.
I can't.
Yeah, that's
like,
just
it was
bad
a
sportsmanship right
solid
there.
4 seconds
Yeah.
before hitting him.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
He has also done that a couple times this year. He did to Ovechkin on one of his empty nets.
Of course he did.
Yeah, he tried to start something with Ovechkin.
Gotta be starting something.
Um,
Got to be
it,
starting
the
something.
Philadelphia game,
Mhm.
they got outshot 37-23.
Oh my God, Philadelphia! Come on. You let in 6 goals on 23 shots.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, that's not the worst.
2
we've
empty
seen
nets.
it.
2 empty
Oh,
nets.
okay, that's fair. That's fair. But like, okay, 4 goals on. Let's take those 2 empty net shots away.
21.
On 21 shots is pretty bad.
It's
Still.
not good.
We've seen worse this year. I think I don't remember who it was, but we definitely saw a team lit up 6 goals on like 18 shots.
yeah.
I don't remember who it was, but
I feel like it was Ottawa.
either them or Anaheim, and being like, "Ugh."
All right. Pedersen is their top player with 2 goals and 5 assists.
Okay.
So, yeah.
They haven't been so active in the trade deadline yet.
News-wise,
Mm-hmm.
I'll start with Vancouver because of what you said. Dermott is on the IR with an undisclosed injury that just happened.
Uh-huh. It's not anything related to this.
Okay.
We'll talk about it afterwards.
Dermott is IR for undisclosed. Thatcher Demko had a setback.
Oh, that's right. I did see that.
He
Yeah.
had a setback in
Yeah.
his recovery, so it's going to be a little bit before he comes back.
Seelovs and Spencer Martin for the rest of the year.
Martin's in the minors. It's Delia.
Oh, right. Yeah,
Delia.
I forgot they have Colin Delia.
All right. For Anaheim, Stolarz is day to day with a lower body. It's not
That's
good.
not good.
No, it's not.
No.
He's been dealing.
I mean, whatever.
He's
I
been,
guess
he's been day to day with a lower body for a little bit. He's been coming in, going out. Just
he keeps retweaking it.
yep. For Calgary, Lindholm is out for a couple of games. Him and his wife are having their first baby.
Oh,
I know.
That's a nice reason
It's
to
a good
miss a
reason.
couple of games. Yeah.
He played in.
Unless the baby's ugly.
He's Swedish. They can't be ugly.
That's true. Just while you're looking up something, let me tell a funny anecdote really
I
quick.
think he played the first 2 games and didn't play in the Rangers game.
Okay. My dad told me that when he was born, his dad went to like go view him in the like the neonate room, and I was like, that baby's ugly as sin. Like, I don't know.
Yeah,
like
yeah.
obviously I wasn't
an
there,
ugly
but
baby.
like oh man, that's an ugly baby.
Damn,
I
that's
made
an ugly baby.
I made an ugly baby.
For Edmonton, Evander Kane
Mm-hmm.
is out with an upper body. He played.
Yeah, he did play the last couple of weeks.
He did not play in that loss against Colorado, so we'll see how long.
I wonder
that,
if it has something to do with his
Maybe.
wrist. Maybe. I don't know.
So we'll see how long term that becomes. For the Kings, Mikey Anderson signed a new
that's right.
extension.
After he and Sidney Crosby both got kicked out of a game
Yep.
the week prior.
Like a day or two after.
Yeah, like a day or two after.
8 years.
It's a lot of years.
4.125.
It's a lot of years for like a defenseman that's like, okay. 4.125 isn't bad.
Exactly. Like
He's not old either. He's like on the younger side.
I think this is a very good contract.
Okay.
Like you.
I mean, obviously, I don't know. I don't view him as much as you do.
Right, but like he's very middle of the road. You have him for term, and the contract is going
Contract's
to
fine.
only be better as the cap goes up.
Well, as long as he keeps playing, all right.
Yeah, but still, he's a young guy. So, I mean, he's an adult that goes by the name of Mikey, and so take that. Take that away from him.
Shout out to my mom, but you know who Chipper Jones is,
Yeah,
right?
good old Chip.
He's a Hall of Fame baseball player, but I do remember my mom being like, he's a grown man who goes by Chipper.
Yeah,
It's like, I think that's just his legal name.
it's his
Chipper.
legal name.
But I remember thinking that was so funny she said that. Shout out, Mom. Love you.
Finally, for San Jose, Gadjevich is week to week with an upper body.
Gadjevich.
Yep,
Okay.
that's it.
All right.
Oh, it said it wasn't on the thing, but apparently Timo Meyer, they said
Is out with an upper body.
We'll
I
see
think
what
it was
happens.
day to day or something. It wasn't
Yeah.
anything serious,
No.
but seeing as many teams have taken Arizona's lead with being like, yeah, we're just not playing him because we're trying to trade him. Because
I feel like San
Arizona's
Jose-
done that, and Ottawa did that, and then immediately traded Tyler Mott.
Yep.
I think Columbus might have said that too
Yes,
about
Columbus
somebody.
did.
Was it Gavrikov?
Yes.
Are they holding him out for? They're trying to trade Gavrikov.
Yes.
It was another defenseman. Seems like defensemen are at a premium
They
at
are.
this trade deadline. So somebody is going to trade way too much for some
Chychrun,
defenseman. Chychrun, you could say maybe he's worth that much because he's only 24. He has term on his contract, but
That's true, but he's also injury prone.
that is also true. So let's finish things off with the Metropolitan Division, starting with the Carolina Hurricanes, who were 3-0 this week.
Yes, they were.
Starting to get a stranglehold on that first place. Beating Washington 3-2 with Stefan Newson had a goal and an assist. And Freddie Anderson, 34 of 36.
Very close game.
Then they stomped Montreal 6-2.
Wasn't pretty.
No, 41-22 were the shots in favor of Carolina in this game.
Yep.
Jarvis had a hat trick. Svechnikov had 3 assists. And Aho and Burns each had 2 points in this game.
Yes, they did.
Pretty obviously big scoring game for Carolina. And then we finish off the week with a Stadium Series game
Yes.
against the same Washington Capitals, but Carolina won 4-1 in this game.
It's not a close game.
Not
Even a little bit.
No. This game was not as close as the first game of this week between the two. Carolina outshot them 35-25. Nate Choss had a goal and 2 assists, and Teravainen and Kokaniemi each had a goal and an assist.
So I'm going to pause real quick here. One, because it was a Stadium Series, a bunch of the teams came out in like different little outfits.
Sexy little outfits.
Yeah, I mean, Charlie Lindgren looked good.
Did he?
Oh yeah. So Washington, because this game was in NC State's football stadium,
Oh, that's where it was.
Yes.
Okay. I forgot this was a Stadium Series game
it sold
until
out.
I looked into it.
They weren't advertising this nationally.
That's so stupid. The NHL is so bad at
It sold out in
advertising.
September.
Oh, that would be why. Yeah.
It sold out in September. Doesn't matter. You don't need to advertise that.
Well, you know what? That's actually really nice to see because Carolina was one of the teams that got
And
dogged for years because their attendance was really bad. But like, they sold this game out in September.
the product was bad as well.
That's true. Yeah, that's true.
They sold it out in September and then threw a student section on top of it.
Hell yeah.
Yeah. It
The football stadiums are big. That's-
56,000.
Yeah, that's a lot of people.
56
you know?
to 69,000 watched this game.
I want to see
My
it.
friend was at this game.
Oh,
He-
yeah?
He texted me or
Yeah.
he Snapchatted me, fuck the Capitals.
I'd do the same thing.
I would, yeah, I get it.
Although, if it was a Stadium Series game between Pittsburgh and Washington, we would be there together.
It was cold too. It was
I bet.
cold in Raleigh. This
Dude, I went to one that was, I think, the only Stadium Series game in Pittsburgh. It was at Heinz Field.
right.
And it was between Pittsburgh and Philly. I went to this game with my buddy who's
Yep.
a Flyers fan. Shout out Derek if you're listening. I don't think you are, but
fine.
you might be. We had the very highest seats you could have in that stadium. It was super fun though,
Exactly.
but it was freezing that night in Pittsburgh. It was like wind whipping. It was like -10 wind chill, and we were there in like hockey onesies, like together. One of us, obviously, I was in a Pittsburgh one. He was in a Philly one.
Yep.
I think I bought that for him too because it was a surprise for him.
Yeah.
And we were there. We were all bundled up, but we were sitting in the top, like, "Ooh, go our team."
Yeah, right.
It was a lot of fun, though. As really horrible as the conditions were, it was a lot of fun.
So yeah, it sold out in September. It's the same parking lot as PNC Park,
Oh,
Not
no,
PNC
not
Park.
PNC Park. That's in
PNC
Pittsburgh.
Arena.
It's confusing
It's-
when companies name different things.
It's still
yeah.
PNC, for Carolina.
Yeah.
So like the same parking complex, they're right across the street from each other. So the Capitals came out in varsity jackets, like really good looking varsity jackets.
Ooh.
Oh man. Carolina came out in golf, like early 1800s, like Scottish golf uniforms,
Ooh, baby.
because Pinehurst is right there, and
Yeah.
like one of the best golfing in the country is not far away from Raleigh. There's a lot of the players are members of that golf course as well. Problem is, if they don't win the Stanley Cup this year, those photos of all of them in golf uniforms, golf outfits,
yeah, they're gonna
not going to be
They're
good.
gonna get memed really hard, especially if they lose in the first round.
Oh, it's not going to be good.
Oh boy, that'll be a fun time
That's not
to
gonna
be
be good.
an anti-Carolina fan.
Oh, man.
Yeah, just be like, oh look, they predicted their season.
Exactly.
Yeah. That's really funny. I didn't even think of that.
I think I saw the email that you saw.
Oh, the email that
Yep.
that has nothing to do with hockey.
Nope,
yeah.
not at all.
All right. Well, Freddie Anderson was Carolina's top player this week, going 2-0 with a 1.50 goals against and a .951 save percentage. Old man Freddie, he's doing a good job.
He almost smiled after
Almost.
this Stadium Series.
Almost smiled. Let's move on to Columbus that had a weirdly good week. 2-1-1 for them. Losing to New Jersey 3-2 to begin the week, where Adam Boqvist had a goal and an assist in that game.
Mm-hmm.
They then beat Winnipeg 3-1, where Patrick Laine had a goal and an assist. Beat Dallas 4-1, where oh Jesus, yeah,
I'm showing them the picture of the golf.
They're gonna get memed real bad
Oh,
if they
yeah.
don't. If they don't go deep in the playoffs, at the very least.
Even if they go deep.
Yeah, no, they're gonna have to win the Stanley Cup to not get memed on for that.
Oh, there's Charlie Lindgren.
Ooh, more hockey teams should have those coats.
Yeah.
I would buy one. I would buy a
it's a
Penguins
vars-
version of that.
It's a varsity
nice. I like
jacket.
it. Looks leather or pleather maybe.
Lindgren's also wearing like
Let me see that picture again.
skiing
Look at that
sunglasses
fucking
with the mustache.
Oh my god, he looks like he's going to a porn set. He's like, I'm coming, ladies
Got that
or gentlemen.
that
whatever.
caterpillar on his lip.
Yeah, for real. Anyway, we're talking about Columbus right now. They beat
Who's not doing well.
Dallas
Overall.
Overall, not doing well. Beat Dallas 4-1 though, where I believe his last name is Olivier. Had a goal and 2 assists.
It is
It's
Olivier.
Matthew Olivier.
Yes, it's Olivia.
And he spells Matthew like French people spell Matthew with like a U in it.
Mm-hmm.
And then Robinson had a goal and an assist in that game as well. They then lost to Arizona to finish off the week 3-2 in overtime, where Boone Jenner had a goal and an assist.
Boone Jenner. We haven't talked about Boone Jenner all year.
Captain Boone had a goal and an assist.
I love me some Boone.
I don't even know where he's from. Captain Boone.
I don't care.
I'm just gonna assume he's from like Arkansas. Captain Boone.
Boone from Arkansas.
They also outshot Arizona.
No, that's Boone, North Carolina.
36-25. Boqvist is their top player of the week with 2 goals and 3 assists.
I'm looking up what Boone Jenner's from.
I figured that's what you were
I
doing.
cannot.
The New Jersey Devils.
He's Canadian.
That's okay. There's a South in Canada too.
There is. It's
Yeah.
called Alberta.
Alberta
And Saskatoon.
and Saskatoon.
Saskatchewan.
Saskatoon. It's like the whole thing, whole dang thing, except for Ontario and,
I mean,
and Quebecois.
He's Dorchester, Ontario.
Dorchester, Ontario, huh? I'm
Sas-
from Dorchester.
Saskatchewan's in Ontario, so I tried to do a Southern Canadian.
God, okay, we're talking about the Devils.
it
We're
got
talking about the
weird.
Devils. We're talking about the Devils. Devils went 3-1. I just spit. The Devils went 3-1 this week, beating Columbus 3-2, as I just mentioned, where Adam Graves had a goal and an assist, and he scored with 1.4 seconds left in
that.
the game,
I
which is super disappointing
saw
for
that.
Columbus. They then lost a game to St. Louis 4-2.
Mm-hmm.
They beat Pittsburgh, where they pretty much embarrassed Pittsburgh 5-2, outshooting them 43-31. Nico Hischier, 2 goals, 2 assists, including a shorthanded goal.
Uh-oh.
Sharon Govich, Hughes, and Mercer each had 2 points in that game. And then they finished off their week by beating Winnipeg 4-2. Dawson Mercer had 2 goals in this game, while Howla, what's Howla's first name?
I don't remember.
I don't either. He had 2 assists. Mercer is one of their top players with 4 goals and an assist.
Wow.
And mostly off of that Pittsburgh game, Nico Hischier is also up there with 2 goals and 3 assists.
Good for him.
Excuse me. Islanders are up next. 1-1 this week. Starting off the week by losing to Ottawa 3-2 in a shootout. Sorry.
Yep.
Narragansett is making me burpy.
Oh, you're on your 3rd tall boy.
Don't call me out. All right?
I drive home. That's the only reason.
Yeah, I
started
know.
this.
They outshot Ottawa 48-34 in this game.
Yeah, they did.
Sorokin was 32 of 34. They then beat Pittsburgh 5-4, where Lee and Nelson, who I hate both of them, scored 2 goals and an assist against Pittsburgh each. They came back from being down 4-2, while
Yep.
Matthew Barzell had 2 assists in that game.
Well, you don't have to say that name for a while.
Spoiler.
Yeah.
Spoiler, Clay.
We talked about it ahead of time.
What, not on the
I said
podcast.
before the podcast.
Before the podcast. And then they lost to Boston 6-2, where they
Yep.
let up 6 goals on 27 shots against.
Yep.
Pretty bad.
Very bad.
Brock Nelson and Anders Lee, bastards, are their top players this week with 3 goals and 1 assist for Nelson and 2 goals and 2 assists for Anders Lee. Fucking assholes. The New York Rangers are up next, going 2-0-1 this week. They beat Vancouver to start the week 6-4, where Panarin had 2 goals and an assist.
Mm-hmm.
And Zibanejad also had 2 goals and an assist.
Scary man.
Beat Edmonton 5-4 in a shootout. Chris Kreider had 2 goals, while Zibanejad had a goal and an assist, and Panarin and Fox each had 2 assists in that game. And then they lost to Calgary in overtime, like you previously mentioned, where they were outshot by a pretty solid margin.
Solid margin.
Trocheck had 2 assists in that game, but their top player of the week is Artemi Panarin.
Is that because he convinced Tarasenko to come to New York? Or
Well,
just in
Tarasenko
general?
didn't do shit this week, so Artemi Panarin had 2 goals and 4 assists this week. So solidly averaging 2 points per game.
Good job for the bread man.
Oh boy, let's talk about the Philadelphia Flyers.
They tried.
Did they? They went 0-2 this week,
They outshot Vancouver.
They lost both games 6-2, Clay. They lost both games 6-2. Against Seattle, the first game, they were outshot 30-19.
Yeah, that's not good.
Travis Konechny had both goals in that game.
Ugh.
And then they lost to Vancouver 6-2, where they outshot Vancouver 37-23.
Yep.
Flyers are terrible.
They're not good.
And they're gonna get Connor Bedard.
No, they're not.
And he's gonna hate his life because his coach is John Tortorella. And they're gonna ruin him.
No, John Tortorella can just develop a motherfucker.
Can he?
Who knows? I haven't followed his career as much.
Travis Konechny is their top player, clearly having 2 goals and an assist.
And a bitch move.
And a bitch move against the Lash Patterson, yeah. Pittsburgh up next, not doing that much better than Philly, going 1-2 this week. They started off the week strong by beating San Jose 3-1.
Yep.
Where they were outshot by San Jose 39-28.
They were.
But they won the game, where Jake Gensel had 2 goals. Ricard Raquel had a goal and 2 assists, and Crosby had 3 assists.
Mm-hmm.
They're, if you don't know, on the same line.
Yep.
Yeah. Excuse me. And then they lost to the Islanders, like I already mentioned, 5-4, where they outshot the Islanders 44-28. You know, they really had the control of this game for 2 periods and then just pooped their pants in the third period.
I did see that.
What? Pooped their pants at the end of the second period leading into the third period.
I did remember seeing
Because
that.
they went up 4-2, and I was like, all right, they got it back.
Nope.
And then immediately afterwards, they just lit up a shitty goal.
Well, like, I went to cook some dinner for the, both the Toronto, Chicago game and then the Edmonton, Colorado game, and I came back and it's like, what's going on?
What's happening here? Yeah, well, they blew a 4-2 lead. Ricard Raquel, silver lining, had 2 goals in this game, where Crosby had a goal and an assist, and then they got just embarrassed by the Devils 5-2, where they were outshot by a wide margin, but hey, Evgeny Malkin had both goals in that game.
Good for him.
That goal that Nico Hischier scored on the shorthanded, he scored on the penalty kill, was just really embarrassing for Pittsburgh. Just like, because they got the puck and just walked right past the Penguins.
Oh.
And then just scored like, it was just, oh God, it made me so mad when I saw it happen. Hey, Ricard Raquel is their top player of the week, though. 3 goals, 3 assists. He did his best. Let's talk about a team that didn't do their best this week.
No.
The Washington Capitals. 0-3.
Yup.
Losing to Carolina 3-2 to begin the week, where Snively Whiplash had a goal and an assist in that game. Losing to Florida 6-2.
Mm-hmm.
TJ Oshie had 2 assists in this game, and
Really embarrassing. Again, 2 of those were empty nets. Florida tried to lose that game.
right. I wrote down Eric Gustafson had 3 assists, which is literally impossible because they only scored 2 goals.
He had 2 assists.
Yeah, I'm going to assume he had 2 assists. And then they got kind of just stomped by Carolina 4-1. What's up? Did I write that score down wrong?
Yes, I think you did.
Was it 6-3?
Yes.
Okay, I wrote the score down wrong. Do 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 do.
6-3. Yep.
Okay, that makes more sense. Okay, that's my bad. I wrote the score down wrong. That was 6-3.
Because it was 4-1, and then they scored 2 power play goals, and then there we are.
Gotcha. So my bad on that one. Washington does not get a top player. No. Let's move on to the news. I only have 2 things of news.
Yep.
Since we just talked about Washington, it's kind of fitting. Unfortunately, Alex Ovechkin's father passed away.
Yep.
So Ovechkin, I don't think played at all this week. He has been away in Russia attending to that.
Maybe the first Carolina game.
Well, in either direction, he didn't play most of these games.
They talked about they're hoping to have him back this week. They were like,
it's a long way to travel, and it's obviously an awful thing. To
Laviolette said he's dealing with stuff. We'll see.
Yeah. So I'm sure he'll be back eventually, as long as Russia lets him leave. And yeah, that sucks. So T's and P's to the Ovechkin family. But all joking aside, I hope he's doing okay. JG Pageau for the Islanders has been put on IR with a lower body injury, and unfortunately, also for the Islanders, Matthew Barzal is either out week to week or out indefinitely, depending on who you ask. I didn't see if that was it a lower body injury?
I think so.
Yeah, I think it was a lower body injury.
It was his knee. It was. It looked like
it happened against Boston.
It looked like Johansson, like something incidental, like Johansson on Nashville, but then he had compartment syndrome.
Oh, that's terrible. I had a friend who had a compartment syndrome. It was really horrible.
Yeah.
So yeah, that puts a real blow in the Islanders.
So it's like, what are the Islanders going to do? Because
they already made a huge move and got Bo Horvat.
But like, you can sell Mayfield, you can sell Varlamov. They're UFAs.
Yeah, I guess.
You can sell, but also Lou Lamoriello is in a contract here for himself, and he is very much the person who will burn everything. Just cause. Think of what he did to the Devils before he left.
True.
So we'll see what happens.
I think it depends on what happens in the next 11 days. Now, I don't think that completely tanks them losing Barzal, because obviously they got Horvat. They still have Nelson. They still have Lee. And they still have other guys. Dobson, and, they're still fine defensively. They can still win games. But in the next 11 games, just like, who are we talking about?
Parise also, as well.
That's true. Parise is actually playing pretty well for them this year, yeah.
You can do a quick retool.
If they're out of the playoffs,
right.
I think that they maybe do that. And we're like, oh, Parise is cheap. Give us a 4th round pick for him or something.
Sell Varlamov. Wow.
Varlamov, I think they could get a second for.
Yeah.
I don't know that they can get a first. Maybe a team that's desperate, but like, it all comes down to what happens in the next 11 days and change.
I'm interested to see what Washington does with where they are right now.
Yeah.
I'm interested to see. Also, here's that fact that I alluded to.
Oh, yeah.
Outside of Carlson, they don't have a defenseman signed.
Really? For next year?
All of their other defensemen are
let's look. I have
not on contract for next year.
Conveniently, I have Cap Friendly already pulled up. Where are they?
They're by the top.
There they are.
Everyone's a UFA besides 2 RFAs outside of Carlson. That's it.
Come on, Cap Friendly, just load.
So their defense could look completely different, and they could sell a lot.
Interesting. Well, if they fall out, oh my god.
I wasn't lying.
Oh my god.
They don't have a single defenseman signed through next year.
Well,
next
year.
Yes,
we could put it.
2
Alexander
RFAs.
Alexiev is an RFA, and so is Martin Fehervari. But yeah, you're right. Everyone else is a UFA. That's crazy. Didn't you tell me that contract discussions with Orlov are like not going well?
Yeah.
They could trade Orlov. Well, he has a modified no trade clause.
You can trade Jensen.
Oh, it's just a 5-team no trade list.
Jensen.
Trevor and Van Riemsdyk, they might be able to get something for. Orlov, I think they could definitely get something for.
Right. So it's
these other guys, not really, but maybe Eric Gustafson. He's having a weirdly good year for you guys.
Gustafson's having a great year.
Where's Carlson? Oh, he's on LTIR.
He's on LTIR. He almost lost his ear, remember?
Oh, that's right.
He's been out since right before Christmas.
That's right.
He might have lost his ear, but then they put it back.
They stapled it back on. Yeah.
So, yeah, and then looking at their forwards.
They don't got a lot of people signed for next year either.
No.
They got, wow. That takes a jump.
Oh, Strome. That's Strome. It's fine.
Oh, I'm sorry. I thought that was Lars Eller.
Right.
Yeah, no, that's fine then. Yeah, they have a bunch of pending UFAs. Eller, Garnet Hathaway, Connor Sherry, Marcus Johansson, Nicholas Abe-Kubel. I mean, if they start falling off in the next less than 2 weeks,
We'll see what happens with them.
we can see what happens. Maybe they'll start selling.
We're having a fire sale.
Fire sale. Let's look at the standings really quick. Would you rather look at divisions or wild card?
So it's the wild card. You're already there.
Okay. Well, thankfully, at the NHL.com hates me and doesn't load anyway, so it's fine. So let's look at the Eastern. The top 3 in the Metropolitan Division are the Carolina Hurricanes at 37, 10, and 8 with 82 points. They are a solid 3 points ahead of the New Jersey Devils, who are 37, 14, and 5 with 79 points. Carolina has a game in hand on them. Right below New Jersey is the Rangers at 33, 14, and 9 with 75 points. 56 games played. You want to do the Atlantic?
Yeah, the Atlantic. Boston apparently won their game that was earlier today because they're at 91 points. At the end of this week, it was 89, so they won another game. Then Toronto is second with 76, so there's a gap.
Yeah, that's a big gap right there.
And then Tampa Bay is in third with 73 points, but 2 games in hand, so they can pass.
They could catch Toronto.
They could pass that.
Moving down to the wild card, I guess they just won their game because Florida has the top wild card spot right now. Their record currently is 29, 25, and 6 for 64 points.
Yep.
You know what's crazy? Oh, that's why. Pittsburgh Penguins currently have the second wild card spot, going 27, 19, and 9 with 63 points. Pittsburgh has 5 games in hand on Florida.
4. A little bit of math. Oh, on Florida.
On Florida?
I thought you were talking
60 minus 55 is 5. Clay.
I was looking at the third place in the wild card.
Third place in the wild card is the New York Islanders, who also have 63 points, going 28, 24, and 7.
See, I
Pittsburgh
stopped listening to you.
Got you. Pittsburgh has 4 games in hand on the Islanders.
See, my math was right there. Your math was right in the other spot.
You're right. Washington is right behind the Islanders, 28, 24, and 6. They almost have the exact same record, 62 points. Washington has a game in hand on the Islanders.
Let's get a loser point and tie with the Islanders.
Buffalo at 28, 22, and 4 with 60 points. They even have a game in hand on Pittsburgh.
Yeah.
So Buffalo, just looking at the wild card, Buffalo has 6 games in hand on Florida.
Crazy.
And they're at 60 points. Oh, my God. They could have 72 points, theoretically. Well, compared to how many games Florida has played. Detroit is tied with Buffalo, 26, 21, and 8 for 60 points. They also have only played 55 games, so they have 3 games in hand on Washington, 4 in hand on the Islanders, same amount of games as Pittsburgh, and 5 games in hand on Florida.
And then look at Ottawa, and then we don't need to talk about...
Oh, okay. Yeah, Ottawa, 27, 25, and 4 for 58 points, so they're not that far behind. 56 games played. Again, even less far behind if you think about it. And then past that, we don't have to talk about.
No.
Philadelphia's not crazy behind Ottawa, but they're not good. Let's move over to the Western Conference in the Central Division. Dallas is still leading at 30, 15, and 12, good for 72 points. Winnipeg in second place, 34, 21, and 1 for 69 points. Colorado in third place, 31, 19, and 5. Now, Colorado had a pretty bad stretch of the season because of all of their injuries and whatnot. But they're catching up significantly. They're only 5 points behind Dallas, with 2 games in hand on Dallas and 1 game in hand on Winnipeg. So they theoretically could be tied with Winnipeg.
Yes.
Moving on to the Pacific.
Vegas is at the top. We've talked about them already. So 72 points. Then LA with 71. And then Seattle in third with 70. For the first wild card spot out, it's Edmonton with 68 points. Then the second wild card spot is held by...
Go ahead. Yeah, keep going. I read off these. Go ahead.
The second wild card spot is held by Minnesota with 65 points in 56 games, so they only have a game in hand. The West has played a lot less games than the East for some reason. Then Calgary.
Well, depending on who you're talking about.
Calgary is the first team out with 63 points, but same amount of games as Minnesota. Then we'll talk the next two teams, Nashville and St. Louis. Nashville has 58, St. Louis has 55.
I mean,
They're
St.
kind
Louis
of
has
out.
given up on the season.
They're out.
Nashville
hasn't given up
Not yet, but
but-
they have 2 games in hand on Minnesota
and Calgary.
and Calgary, so they wouldn't be able to catch Minnesota with that, though.
They could be in
That
it.
could be closer.
They could
Yeah.
be in it, but it's
They have
not
to win
looking,
those games.
It's not looking good.
looking good for Nashville, so. And then the rest of them are just really far out of
They're
it.
trash.
Oh, look, Chicago and Anaheim are tied again.
Look at
41
that.
points.
Woo.
Is that last place
Yes.
in the entire league? Oh, no, Columbus is right there too with 41
41
points. Hell yeah.
The
Look
fight
at
for
them
Bedard.
losers. They're not. Watch, one of them is not going to win.
No, why would they?
I'm telling you right now. I'm
Mont-
calling it's going to be Florida, or it's going to be the Flyers. I'm
gonna be
calling it
Montreal.
right now.
Montreal, if Florida doesn't make it, that's another chance. They
I
have 2
forgot
chances
about
to get
that.
Bedard.
I forgot about that.
I hope
You know
Florida
what?
doesn't
I
make
wouldn't
it.
hate him in a San Jose jersey or Vancouver jersey,
I mean,
honestly. Vancouver would fuck it up somehow. Just
Somehow?
knowing them. Just knowing them. But anyway, that is
our week.
overall standings and week 19 of the NHL playoffs. Let's just check Cap Friendly really quick, just in case there was a trade that happened while we weren't looking. I don't think so.
No.
But no. The
Any-
Tyler Mott trade was the last one.
Any signings? No. All right.
No. All right. So that's it for this week, folks. We will be back next week talking about all
Them
of
puck stuff.
all that puck stuff, maybe some more trades. We'll see what happens. But you can find us wherever podcasts are found, obviously. Give us a rate, review, subscribe wherever applicable, and tell your friends, tell your family, because we're talking pucks out here. And we will see you next week at the same puck time.
Same puck place.
Oh, God, I don't have the... There we go. Bye!
Bye-bye.